The Charlottesville campus has produced many innovative leaders, but its theater of Cavalier football history reveals a chilling tale of horror. 28 losses in a row in the late 50s and 1960. A stretch of 19 wins and 70 losses in the mid-70s and early 80s. And through the years, Clemson has tortured Virginia. The pain still lingers from a massacre in 82 and a slaughter in 84. The Cavs are winless against the Tigers. But Virginia coach George Welsh figures it's time for a script change. He has a more talented cast these days with quarterback Sean Moore and wide receiver Herman Moore. The '89 ACC champs plan to put the Tigers' streak to rest. But Clemson coach Ken Hatfield is on a mission with his new team. And his defense is loaded. Linebackers Doug Brewster, Levon Kirkland, and John Johnson are among the best in the nation, and Vance Hammond anchors the defensive line. The Tigers are pointing toward 30 straight over UVA.
Charlottesville, Virginia, it's the first and perhaps most important ACC game of the year for the Clemson Tigers and the Virginia Cavaliers. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough, along with former Pitt coach Mike Gottfried. We're delighted to have you with us on ESPN. Clemson has never lost to Virginia in football. They're 29-0 all-time against the Cavaliers. That's the longest winning streak of one Division I-A program against another. And Mike, the question here in Charlottesville is, who feels the heat most because of this streak?
Sean, this is a big ball game for both teams. If you're George Welsh, you'd like to get the monkey off your back, and you'd like to beat Clemson. He's got to sell his team on this is the 1990 team. This is our first chance against them. Kenny Hatfield on the other side is in a transition year. What Kenny's got to do with his 6 new coaches, he's got a ball game on the road, which will be a tough game, his first game on the road. Just got to keep everybody composed.
And certainly Ken Hatfield in his first year at Clemson does not want to be the first Tiger coach ever to lose to the Virginia Cavaliers. It is a talented Virginia club, particularly on offense, led by quarterback Sean Moore.
Sean Moore's an outstanding quarterback. He can hurt you running the football and throwing the football. I look for him to run a lot of options today. His #1 target will be Herman Moore. Herman's a big 6'5" receiver that can leap and go up for the ball, and I expect him to go down the field and be a big threat today in the secondary of Clemson. The player that I think has to have the big ball game, I think the key to the game is number 86, Bruce McGonigal. He's a tight end, Sean, that they can put on the backside against a smaller corner, and I think he'll have a big game today.
That talented Virginia offense goes against the Clemson defense, the Tiger defense, the strength of their team. They're one of the best in the country with a great core of linebackers. The concern for Ken Hatfield is on offense. It's an inexperienced offensive team, an inexperienced quarterback, but a big, strong, and talented offensive line.
Well, they do have a big, strong offensive line. What they're concerned about is that their young backs play up to par in a big ball game. They're led by Stacy Long, the right tackle. He's an outstanding offensive lineman, rated by many as one of the best in the country. He has to be able, along with his teammates, to open up the option attack and get the ball on the outside. If Virginia keeps them from tackle to tackle, they have a chance to win this football game.
Here in Charlottesville, they're billing this football game as the most important in the history of the Cavalier football program. The Clemson Tigers take the field with a record of 1-0, a 59-0 pounding of Long Beach State in Death Valley last week. And here come the Cavaliers of Virginia. They went on the road to Kansas a week ago and beat the Jayhawks 59-10. It's a sea of orange in Charlottesville, Virginia, as the Cavaliers host the Tigers. Coming up live on ESPN right after this. Back at Scott Stadium in Charlottesville, Virginia, fans on both sides on their feet. There is a large contingent here from Clemson, but as you might imagine, it is a predominantly Virginia crowd. George Welsh, in his 9th season
as head man at Virginia, he is the man most responsible for turning this program around.
He's done a very good job in this program.
Across the way, Ken Hatfield, in his first year at Clemson, after highly successful stints at the Air Force Academy and at Arkansas. The opening kickoff will be received by Clemson. Michael Husted will kick off for Virginia. He's a junior from Hampton. Came to Virginia as a walk-on. Howard Hall with the return from the 8. He slips down at the 20. We've had off and on light rain here in Charlottesville today. The field might be a little bit slick. Here's today's Sears Die-Hard starting lineup. On offense for Clemson, Deshaun Cameron is the quarterback. In the backfield behind him, Howard Hall and Rodney Blunt, each inexperienced. The wideouts, Doug Thomas and Terry Smith. The tight end, Stacy Fields, he's outstanding. The big offensive line centered by Mike Brown. The guards, Flesh and Harmon. Clemson thinks their guards are the best in the country. Bruce Bratton and Stacy Long are the tackles. From the 20, first and 10 Clemson. Howard Hall into the line for 1. He ran in to the nose guard, Ron Carey, number 90. For the Cavaliers on defense, Ron Carey is the nose guard. He sat out last week with an injury. The tackles, Don Reynolds and Joe Hall. Chris Slade also out last week with an injury. He's back with Benson Goodwin on the outside. The inside linebackers, James Pearson and freshman P.J. Killian. The corners, Wallace and Jeffries. The safeties, Tyrone Lewis and Tony Covington. Virginia playing without starting free safety, Keith McNeans. Rodney Blunt with his first carry. Out to the 28-yard line, 2 yards short of a first down. 3rd and 2 upcoming for the Tigers.
Clemson's opening up with 2 tight ends, and then that play just ran the sprint draw, just trying to feel them out a little bit right now, seeing if they're in anything different than they expected.
Mike, in a game of emotion like this, how important are the first series of the football game?
Very important that you get your team settled down as quickly as you can.
3rd and 2. Blunt didn't get there. He came up a half-yard short. Again, Ron Carey was in on the tackle for Virginia. And look at this raucous crowd in Charlottesville.
4th down situation right here. Clemson players want to go for it, but it's too early in the ball game for Kenny Hatfield to make any kind of move to go for a first down. He's got to punt the football.
Chris Gardocki will punt it away. He's a junior from Stone Mountain, Georgia. He's also the place kicker for Clemson. Honorable mention all year, All-American last year, rather, as a punter.
Sean, the ball's wet, and the snapper wanted a dry ball, so he brought it to the attention of the umpire so he could have a dry ball. When Virginia gets the football, they're going to have pretty good field position based on this punt, and I look for right away for them to try to establish something with misdirection against the speedy defense of Clemson and to throw the football.
Gardocki averaged nearly 43 yards of punt a year ago. This is a high booming kick. Jason Wallace from his 20. His return of 7 yards. Virginia gets the football, 1st and 10 at the 27. Led by Sean Moore, the 5th-year senior. Dave Sweeney and Terry Kirby, the backs behind him. Herman Moore, perhaps the best wideout in America. Derek Dooley, Vince Dooley's son, the other wide receiver. The tight end, Bruce McGonigal. The center is Trevor Riles. He's the most experienced offensive lineman for Virginia. Chris Stearns is playing with an injury. Chris Borsari is a veteran. Ray Roberts, the best of the Virginia linemen. Paul Collins, the other tackle. McGonigal on motion. No score, just underway. We've played 2 minutes and 8 seconds. Kirby didn't go anywhere. He is swarmed under by this outstanding Clemson defense. In the middle, Rob Bodine, the nose guard. The ends, Al Richard and Vance Hammond. Hammond, the best of that group. Linebackers, the best in the country. Kirkland and Johnson on the outside. On the inside, Brewster and McDaniel. In the secondary, Dexter Davis and Jerome Henderson, the quarterbacks. The safeties, Arlington Nunn and Robert O'Neill. Officially a loss of 1 for Kirby. 2nd and 11 for Virginia. He'll try Kirby again. Big hole. He has a first down out to the 38-yard line. 12-yard pickup on Terry Kirby's 2nd carry of the game.
Good play call on 2nd and long yardage on the sprint draw. And what this does for the Virginia offense is gives them a little confidence early that they've been able to handle the down lineman and get Kirby into the secondary for the first down. Good strong run by Kirby. It's going to be very important that the mix of play calls, that they can keep Clemson off balance. A lot of throws on first down, Sean.
Play action pass. Moore threw it away. Going for Herman Moore. He was well covered on the play by the safety Robert O'Neill, number 15.
Again, a play action pass where you try to get Sean Moore on the corner. It was a good call, and sometimes when the play's incomplete like that, you see some things that you can use a little bit later on down there, but they're threatening the corner. The one thing about the Clemson defense, they're tough against the run. You cannot allow them to bear in on you, and I like what they're doing now. I really believe you got to throw on first down these guys and run on obvious passing downs.
Those numbers made Sean Moore 3rd in the nation last year in passing efficiency. 2nd down 10 for Virginia. No score early in the first quarter. Nifty run by Kirby. He picked up nearly 6 yards to the 45. Kirby, also a star on the football team at the University of Virginia. George Welsh looks on as a skirmish has developed at midfield.
You know, tempers early. In this kind of game, it's a rivalry. One team has lost, never beaten the other team. It's an emotional football game. This is as big a football game in the country as we'll have this early in the season.
Sean Moore on 3rd down and a long 5. Too high. Intended for Herman Moore. Again, the wet field a factor as Moore slipped as he went to make his cut.
Virginia went to a play action pass to try to hold the linebackers. They were able to hold the linebackers. Herman Moore was on a comeback, an 18-yard comeback. He fell down. Again, both teams feeling each other out, Sean, a little bit.
Ed Garno will punt it away. Dexter Davis, the deep man for Clemson. Short kick. Takes a Clemson bounce. All the way back to the 33. Better field position for Clemson as the Tigers go on offense for the 2nd time. ESPN's presentation of college football, Clemson versus Virginia, is brought to you by Isuzu and by Budweiser, the king of beers. Remember, know when to say when. Sean McDonough with Mike Gottfried back in Charlottesville, Virginia. Ken Hadfield's team going on offense for the 2nd time.
Look for him to try to go outside with the option now. That's what they have to make happen. They've got to get the ball pitched out on the corner or take the quarterback and roll him out on play action or a sprint. They're trying to work against the young linebackers of Virginia.
Tigers went 3 plays and punt on their first series. They have it 1st and 10 at their own 33. Big hole and a big run for a first down. Howard Hall busting through the middle for 11 yards.
The start of the freeze option right here. First read is the give. It's a give to the fullback. Watch Stacy Long right here coming off a block. He ends up working inside on the backer and moving his feet and opening up a big hole. Again, if you can establish the fullback, the option will come later.
Stacy Long was a first-team Sporting News All-American last year. Rodney Blunt swarmed under behind the line of scrimmage. Tyrone Lewis hit him first, number 9, with help from Jason Wallace, number 7. Let's check in the studio with Chris Fowler.
Okay, it is a final. We've got our first top 25 upset, Maryland. A late touchdown pass from Scott Zolek, 59 yards to Gene Thomas. His second touchdown pass of the game. Maryland starting off 2-0. The Mountaineers are beaten at home by a final of 14-10. Let's go back now to Charlottesville.
West Virginia struggled with Kent last week, now a loss to Maryland. On second and long, Howard Hall, the sophomore from Gastonia, North Carolina, picked up just a couple. He crossed the 40 and went out to the 41. That was it.
This is going to be the first tough call for the offensive coordinator at Clemson, because you're in third and long. You've got a great defense. The one thing you don't want is a big mistake by your young quarterback. Probably the option, a draw, some kind of draw, an option, or maybe a rollout by the quarterback with a run thinking first.
Third down and 11 for a Clemson first down. No score, 8:50 to play in the first quarter. Cameron, complete, and then dropped. In and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Terry Smith.
Both teams will try to get on the corner. You do it different ways. Here's a sprint out with Deshaun Cameron throwing the ball. He's got a curl route to Terry Smith there. He wouldn't have had the first down. He was a little bit inside the sticks. He needed to curl a little deeper on that.
Deshaun Cameron's first pass, an incompletion through no fault of his own. Chris Gardocki, another high spiraling punt. Jason Wallace with a flag down. Wallace down at the 16-yard line.
I think it was a clip, Sean.
A 46-yard punt, a 4-yard return. We'll see what the referee Dale Phillips has to say about the penalty flag.
Good punt by Gardocki. He's so far, there's two punts have pinned Virginia down, and then this particular one with the penalty will give them very poor field position.
It is indeed a clip against the Cavaliers.
Clip against the receiving team. It was during the run back. We got half the distance to the goal line. It'll be first down.
Watch number 9 come into the picture right here. A good deep kick. Sometimes you overkick your coverage. Here comes 9 back. He hits him in the Tyrone Lewis in the back and picks up the penalty, which now puts Virginia in very poor field position.
They're backed up to the 8-yard line. No score, 8:32 to play in the first quarter. George Welsh, winningest coach at Virginia and also at the Naval Academy. Young Cavalier fan hasn't been around for the 29 straight losses for Virginia against Clemson. I'd like to turn that little bit of crying into some smiling at the end of the day if the Cavaliers can end this long losing streak against their rivals, the Tigers of Clemson. No score, 8:32 to play in the first quarter. Kirby, the first man to hit him, the nose guard, number 99, junior Rob Bodine from Delva, North Dakota.
Clemson's defense is based on gap controls, and they're working the gaps pretty good. They're moving the defensive linemen down into the gaps and getting penetration. And Kirby had no place to go. There was no read there for him at all. Virginia's the type of offense that scores quick. They're not a big, long, driving type team.
Loss of a yard on first down for Kirby. 2nd and 11 from the 7-yard line. That pass is caught. Herman Moore out of bounds with a first down at the 22. 15-yard pickup for Virginia.
Excellent route. Excellent play fake. Here's Sean Moore on the run, and this is where he's effective because he can run the football. Herman Moore on about a 15-yard comeback route stretches out with that 6'5" frame and brings that ball in. A great reception there. Needed to get him out of the hole.
Moore scrambles and hits Moore. Moore to Moore, close to another first down out to the 33-yard line.
Outstanding play call. First down, play action pass. He's looking like it's going to be the option. The play is covered right off the bat. The defender had his hands in his eyes, and he kept rolling Sean Moore to throw the ball to Herman Moore. Again, a good route, a good catch, good decision by Sean Moore.
39 of his last 42 receptions have been for a first down or a touchdown, including that catch. Cavaliers 1st and 10 at their own 33. They've moved out of that hole when Gardaki's punt pinned them back to the 8-yard line. Kirby, big hole right through the middle. Tackled from behind by the outside linebacker John Johnson. $15 more for Terry Kirby and a first down out of the 47-yard line.
Sprint draw play. Just showed a little while ago a play action pass off the same thing. Here's the run. Good job by the offensive line. Opening that hole up and getting Kirby into the secondary. He almost broke it. He took off to the left side, almost broke it for a long run for a touchdown. Good job by the offensive line. Just keeping their feet and holding the blocks.
Moore. Complete to McGonigal. He slipped and fell. He would have been able to ramble for a few more yards. As it is, he's close to another first down in Clemson territory at the 43.
Sean, what Virginia is doing right now is trying to show Clemson. Clemson has so much speed on defense to show them as much misdirection as they can do. Start out one way, roll the other way. They look like they were going to block McGonigal, then shoot him into the flat right there. Again, if you notice right now on first down, they're throwing the ball, and they're trying to keep them off balance, and they're doing a real nice job of it. 23 of 42 scoring drives, took less than 3 minutes, which means they get a lot of big plays. They have the type of offensive team that can go the distance also.
And right now they're picking it up in big chunks of yardage. 10 yards, 11 yards. That one just more than 10, giving George Welsh another first down.
I think Sean Moore, as I watched that last play, he had some running room outside. I look for him to come out on a play action pass and run it for a good yardage also.
With that catch, McGonigal's now caught at least one pass in 19 of the last 20 games he has played in. Back to Kirby. They're going to rule that his knee touched down before he crossed the 40. He bounced into about the 39-yard line, but they'll spot him back at the 41 for a gain of just 2. And the crowd is booing the spot of that football.
I like Bruce McGonigal as a tight end. Tight ends are becoming the endangered species. They're like the bald eagle because all the 6'5" guys that are in high school are playing basketball. And now with the run and shoot offense, you don't have a tight end.
This the 7th play of the drive for Virginia. 2nd and 8, Kirby. Didn't get much. Chester McLaughlin, number 91, a backup left end, made the hit. Help from Vance Hammond.
You run the counter play to get blocking angles by your offensive line. Clemson, tough team to run at for a steady diet. They gave up 94.6 yards rushing in 89, which is a very, very good statistic. Big play.
Third down. 5 yards to go for a first down. With the blitz on, they went for the wide receiver screen to Herman Moore, but it was too high, and the throw rushed by that Clemson blitz.
Again, a good call. They ran the screen to Herman Moore on the short side of the field, pulling both offensive linemen out here to lead him. The throw was just a little too high, but it was because of the pressure of the Clemson defense. They brought the strong safety from the wide side of the field.
Ed Garneau on to punt for the 2nd time. Not a good effort on his first punt. He switched this summer from a 3-step approach to punting to a 2-step approach.
All he wants to do is pooch it right here. Just pooch it up high and pin him down.
Too much of a boom into that one. Clemson goes on the attack for the 3rd time. 1st and 10 at its own 20. No score. October 11th, 1980, Clemson at Virginia, with Virginia leading 24-17 in the 4th quarter. Willie Underwood blocked the punt, and Bill Smith recovered to tie the game at 24. Then Obed Ariri kicked a 52-yard field goal with 6 seconds left as Clemson won 27-24. That's one of several close calls for Virginia in the history of this rivalry.
Clemson on 1st and 10 from the 20. Cameron keeps and doesn't get very far. He got 2 before he was swung down to the ground by 94, Don Reynolds, the junior left tackle from Axton, Virginia.
Don Reynolds is a player that the Virginia staff will put on the outside eye of the tackle. He's always going to be in that technique, whether he's on the left side or the right side. The first option that Clemson run, it was very important for them to shut that down, and they did.
Reynolds was an outside linebacker last year, but he swelled to 265 pounds. They moved him to tackle. Cameron, man wide open over the middle. Doug Thomas has a first down for Clemson out to the 37-yard line. 15-yard pickup.
Misdirection in a big game like this. You see on one side of the ball Virginia trying it. Here's Clemson comes back with the same type of play. Here they fake the pitch. Now the quarterback's rolling opposite with a guard leading, and now you're trying to work on the linebackers. And look how open Doug Thomas is when he comes across the middle, and then finally tackled by Tony Covington, an outstanding safety.
Doug Thomas, a senior from Hamlet, North Carolina. The toss went back to Rodney Blunt. Good yardage on first down. He gained 5. And perhaps even 6, as it will be 6. They spotted at the 43.
Everything ties in the Clemson offense. Here's the play they just faked a minute ago. The toss sweep now. Good block by Howard Hall. Look at him right there and get a good effort on Chris Slade and Benson Goodwin. Benson Goodwin's a player that they'd like to run to him a little bit more than they would to Chris Slade. Chris Slade's an outstanding player.
2nd and 4 for Clemson. They try Howard Hall off tackle. He's close to a first down at the 46. Looks like he's a yard short.
Went to 2 tight ends on this play to try to balance the Virginia defense up. Try to get somebody on the nose, on the center, playing directly over so that they can take away the shade. 3rd and 1.
Howard Hall has the potential for greatness, according to offensive coordinator Larry Vanderheyden.
Wishbone.
And now whistle stopped the play. Virginia has called timeout.
You know, Sean, that might be the first time they've seen the wishbone, and they may have wanted a timeout here because they had a short yardage defense in.
As George Welsh talks things over with his defense, we'll check in the studio with Chris Fowler.
Okay, fellas, it's a final in Missouri. TCU's Leon Clay into the end zone, caught by Stephen Shifley, 10-yard touchdown. TCU wins it on the road by a score of 20-19. Missouri missed 2 extra points. Back to Charlottesville.
Thank you, Chris. This game 2 of our triple header of CFA football this afternoon and this evening on ESPN. Tonight, 2 Heisman hopefuls go head-to-head as Craig Erickson leads national champion Miami against BYU and Ty Detmer. Earlier today, you saw Cal beat Wisconsin, spoiling Barry Alvarez's debut as head coach of the Badgers. What do you think about tonight's game, Miami and BYU?
I think Miami's such a strong team. Having coached against both those teams, I have great respect for Lavelle Edwards' program and the job that Dennis Erickson has done taking over for Jimmy Johnson, who took over for Howard Snellenberger. That's one of the few programs where there's been a transition of 2 coaches and they've been able to maintain their winning ways.
Virginia the edge in total yardage, but George Welsh is watching his defense on the field at the moment.
So far, again, I think both teams are now starting to feel at home a little bit of what they're trying to accomplish on offense against 2 pretty good defensive teams.
'46-year-old Ken Hatfield. He's been to 8 straight bowl games. And a good chance to make it 9 with this club.
I'd say as this game goes along, he's going to be 56 before it's over.
3rd and 1. A big play early in the ball game. No score, 2:33 to play in the first quarter. Cameron collided with Blunt, but he still picked up the first down.
Tony Covington came up and made the play. The wishbone attack, great short yardage offense because they've got the give, they've got the quarterback on the option, they've got the sweep. They run a little counter here. And a good job again, they just collide each other, quarterback and the running back. Deshaun Cameron, maybe it's the first time they ran the wishbone that they've had problems. They probably have run it in practice, but first time in a ball game. They didn't need it last week.
from midfield. Once again. 5 more into Virginia territory are the Tigers for the first time today. James Pearson, number 47, the linebacker, made the tackle. Rodney Blunt with a lot on his mind, not just this big football game against Virginia, but his brother Donnell is in the Marine Corps and is over in the Persian Gulf right now.
Here's Rodney Blunt following the block of Howard Hall. The one thing about the tailbacks at Clemson, they run downhill. They're not running sideline to sideline. When they get the ball, they're running downhill.
Second and 5. Blunt again. Close to a first down. He's to the 41 of Virginia, about a yard short. A couple of weeks ago, 3 o'clock in the morning, Rodney Blunt's brother Donnell, the Marine, showed up at his residence at Clemson in his Marine uniform to say goodbye as he headed off to the Persian Gulf.
Yeah, we wish all our servicemen the best of luck. Hopefully that'll be over soon.
We talked about how important this football game is, but compared to that, it takes its place in the relative picture. Another big play, 3rd and 1. Blunt picked up the first down, crossed the 40 and squirted down to the 36.
Same play as they ran on the last 3rd and short yardage, out of the wishbone. They're attacking the young linebackers here. Good blocks. P.J. Killing gets up there, but just gets blocked at the last second. Look like they got the James Pearson's legs. They're going to stay in the wishbone now on 1st down. 2 tight ends.
We're down to 30 seconds left in a scoreless first quarter. Blunt has been busy and productive. Gain of 6 more down to the 30.
Same counter misdirection action. What happens on the wishbone when you start one way with your backs like they did on this particular play and then come back the other way, you're freezing the linebackers. Watch here. All the backs moving in one direction freezes the linebackers, which gives the offensive line the blocking angles that they need. And you see the linebacker P.J. Killian not able to get off the block.
That's the end of the first quarter. Each team moved the football in the first quarter, but no points on the board as yet. After 1, Clemson nothing and Virginia nothing. Clemson is on the move as the second quarter begins. This is the 10th play of the drive.
Well, if you're Virginia, you don't want to give any big plays. Make them drive the length of the field, and you got a couple things in favor. Maybe they'll make a mistake.
Howard Hall bangs ahead, close to a first down. He needed to get across the 26. He's about a yard and a half short. For an update on the game between Southern Miss and Alabama, here's Chris.
Thanks, fellas. It's a wild one in Legion Field. Southern Miss went up 24-17. Kerry Valeri, 75-yard interception return. Gary Hollingsworth came right back for Alabama. 60 yards to Craig Sanderson. 24-24 early in the 4th quarter. Southern Miss has the ball. They're driving. Let's go back to Charlottesville now. Clemson and Virginia.
Thank you, Chris. We know you'll keep us up to date on that one. 3rd and 2, Clemson. Again out of the wishbone. Cameron stumbles for the first down.
Both the last 2 plays on 3rd and short in the wishbone, they did a misdirection type play. Here they came right at it with the wishbone offense and the option. Good play mixture by Clemson. Here Deshaun Cameron pulls the ball out. There's a missed tackle right here. Look at him lunge for the first down. It's a great effort by him.
We might have given him the first down prematurely. The officials spotting the ball back near the 26. Looked like he had reached the 25, but apparently his knee was down. And he's short.
You got to go for this one.
I would question the spot of the football. That might be what Ken Hatfield is wondering about as he prowls the sideline.
Well, Kenny Hatfield has to feel good about the wishbone offense right now because he's picked up both key 3rd down situations. I expect him to go back in the wishbone and try to pound it at him. Clemson has an excellent place kicker, but I agree with Kenny Hatfield right now. I think you got to pick up a first down and try to go for the touchdown.
4th and 1. Everybody in the stadium on their feet. Now, if they spot that back at the 26, there'll be an investigation. That's a first down for Clemson.
On the quarterback sneak, the key is for the quarterback to get as low as he possibly can and follow that offensive line. Does a good job of keeping his shoulders parallel and ducking in there for the half yard. One thing you don't want to do is get up real high where somebody can get a piece of you on your way to the first down.
1st and 10 Clemson at the 25 of Virginia. No score early in the second quarter. Cameron. He's going to go to the end zone. A 25-yard touchdown run for Deshaun Cameron. Chris Gardocki the extra point. It is good. And with 13:15 left in the first half, Clemson has a 7-0 lead.
Misdirection play, a naked, where Deshaun Cameron's going to fake the pitch. They've had some success running the football, which opens up this kind of play. Linebackers misdirected. Deshaun Cameron comes out, sees he has the corner, is able to break one tackle with his speed, breaking it for a score.
Great drive by the Tigers. They have the early lead. ESPN's presentation of college football, Clemson versus Virginia, is brought to you by Jeep. There's only one Jeep. And by Serta Perfect Sleeper Mattress. Comfort that will make you say, I want my Serta. Frank Spaziani, the defensive coordinator, the man in the baseball cap, talking to his defense. He was very concerned this week about his young linebacker core. And they were victimized on that drive of 13 plays and 80 yards. 6:28 it consumed because they ran the ball 12 times and only passed once of the touchdown by the quarterback Cameron.
Well, it was an excellent drive. It was called very well by the offensive coaches of Clemson.
Gardocki, the kickoff. Kirby from the 3 drops the ball. He's taken down at the 11-yard line.
Let's go back to the touchdown. As we indicated early in the broadcast, it was very important for Clemson to get the football outside. Here the play fake. Look at the linebackers. Pearson and Killian are caught inside. Here's the play fake by the quarterback. Deshaun Cameron fakes the pitch. They're hurting him. Comes outside. This is a run all the way. This was designed to run the football, and he breaks in the secondary, and with the misdirection, it opened it up. Look for Virginia to do the very same thing. Try to misdirect the Clemson defense.
Clemson coaches were concerned as to how Cameron would react to the pressure of a big game, his first big game. He's responded very well to this point, as has the defense. Ashley Shepard broke into the backfield. Trips up the ball carrier behind the line of scrimmage.
There's a tailback counter with a lot of penetration from the backside. Ashley Shepard came from the backside, make the play. What Virginia has to do right now is keep their composure. This game's not even close to being over, and sometimes you start to revert thinking about all the bad things.
That was Nicky Fisher's first carry of the game. Now Moore will run. He's the second leading returning rusher in the ACC. Rushed for more than 500 yards last year. He scrambled that time out to the 17, still 4 yards short of a first down.
That's a big bonus when your quarterback can run the football, and he'll get loose here a little bit on the option. But again, I think the key for Virginia is not to panic, stay in the ball game. When bad things happen, don't start to think because of that streak they're happening. You just have to hang in there.
On 3rd and 5, it's dropped by Moore. Not really a great throw by Sean Moore. It was a little bit low and a little bit behind Herman.
A little frustration early for the Virginia team here in the second quarter. Little quick delay route to Herman Moore in the flat. They cleared out with McGonigal. Herman Moore's open. May have been able to pick up the first down had he been able to get the ball thrown to him where he had a little bit of a lead.
Ed Garneau hunting from deep in his own territory under a strong rush. There is very little breeze to speak of. That's a good kick. Robert O'Neill taken down at the 36-yard line. A 47-yard punt by Garneau. No yards on the return for Robert O'Neill. Clemson back on offense, leading 7-0. Back in Charlottesville, plenty of Clemson fans on hand, and they're happy that the Tigers have a 7-0 lead early in the second quarter. Today's ITT Hartford student athlete of the game is Virginia's wide receiver Derek Dooley. He majors in government and foreign affairs. His grade point average 3.1. Derek Dooley, the son of Georgia athletic director Vince Dooley, formerly an ESPN college football analyst and a great coach at Georgia. They say Derek's like a coach on the field.
He has a great coaching career, and his athletic director, and he's a good man. And Derek Dooley has always felt like sons of coaches were going to be good football players.
They tell us Derek Dooley's thinking about law school and politics instead of coaching. Rodney Blunt, the carry for Clemson on first down. He got 4. Here's Chris.
Okay, fellas, in the Rose Bowl, number 23 Oklahoma against number 19 UCLA. Tie ball game until the Sooners' Mike McKinley busted ahead 10 yards for the touchdown. 21-14, the Sooners lead in the Rose Bowl in the second quarter. Let's go back now to Sean and Mike in Charlottesville.
We saw Derek Dooley. He's just one son of a famous person involved with the University of Virginia football program. Jesse Jackson's son Yusuf is a linebacker who's out with an injury today and not playing. Bob Greasy's son Scott is a reserve defensive back here. Bill Curry's son Bill is the long snapper.
You know, the key is sometime, as I said earlier about Derek Dooley, you always, as a coach, you always like to have coaches' kids. They've been around it. They've been on the field. They've been in the gymnasiums. They understand the pressure. They understand some of the decision making along the way. So I always felt like if I had a chance to recruit one, I was always going to recruit.
We can add linebacker Ricky Peete to that list. He's the son of golfer Calvin Peete.
And who knows, maybe you want to go out and play 18 holes sometime.
Could play right here in Charlottesville. Storyline here in Charlottesville. Clemson has run the ball 19 times and passed only twice, and they've run effectively. Now with 87 yards. Most of the 42 yards for Virginia came early. The only score of the game, the 25-yard touchdown run by the quarterback Deshaun Cameron, and the time of possession really piling up in favor of the Tigers. 12 minutes and 47 seconds, their time of possession to this point. Injured player coming off the field for the University of Virginia, number 53, Matt Quigley. Backup nose guard. He's in for Ron Carey. He started last week at Kansas and had a big game.
Frank Spaziani, the defensive coordinator of Virginia, right now has to get his players active a little bit. He may have to start stunning a little bit. It's tough to stunt the option, though. That's the one thing that worries you a little bit. Or maybe come into some type of 8-man front to try to help him with a run.
2nd and 6 for Clemson. Howard Hall up the middle, short of a first down. They'll spot him at the 44-yard line. Clemson will need 2 on 3rd down to keep the drive alive.
What Clemson's doing right now is playing smash mouth football, but if they're able to move the ball and establish in the fullback, it's just a matter of time until they get the corner. Virginia really needs a defensive effort right here.
The option, Cameron, first down and more. Into Cavalier territory at the 49 before Tony Covington put the hit on him.
As I just was mentioning the play before, when you establish the fullback, you hold the linebackers. Here's a fake to the fullback. Reverses out, the pulling guard, Sean Cameron, the second angle, the blocking as he comes out, he has the option.
Good lead block by Eric Harmon, number 76, first team all ACC last year. Guard for Clemson. On first down, Blunt lost a little bit back to the 50.
Now, Virginia brought a little pressure right there and sitting back playing defense, and then got a little active there and brought the weak side linebacker on the sprint draw. Now again, if you're Kenny Hatfield, you want to try to get outside again with the option or some type of misdirection play action pass.
Ken Hatfield does call the plays on the sideline with input from the assistant coaches, but he makes the final call in most circumstances. Cameron taken down from behind by P.J. Killian, number 31. They'll mark Cameron down at the 45, so 3rd down and 6 is the situation upcoming for Clemson.
One of the problems that Virginia's having on defense is that they've had some injuries in the secondary. Tony Covington was a corner. They moved him to free safety. He's having a little difficulty making the calls, and I think there's a little confusion right now because of that on the defensive side of the field.
P.J. Killian, 12 tackles to lead Virginia last week against Kansas. Now a timeout called as they'll talk over the 3rd down and 6 play. That timeout called by Clemson. 9 minutes left till halftime. 7-0 Clemson.
Road, and we're playing a team very experienced just as us, and the ACC title's on the line, and also a chance for a national title in a big bowl game. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure, but also that's what makes the game great, and that's what's so good about playing college football.
Might be premature to be talking about ACC titles and national championships, but these two teams are considered the strongest in the ACC, and each of them has a pretty favorable schedule the rest of the way.
They do. It could be a springboard.
3rd down and 6 for Clemson. Cameron incomplete. Intended for Doug Thomas. Jason Wallace had the coverage. And a rare throw from Deshaun Cameron came up short.
Talk about a big play now. As we look back, I think 2 big plays in that series was the punt of Garno's, where he put him back in the hole, and the defense holding on this 3rd down situation, giving Sean Moore another chance to come back in here and get it going for the Virginia offense.
Chris Gardocki will punt it away to Jason Wallace. Fair catch, but Wallace is letting it go. And it went into the end zone. A 45-yard punt and no return. College football game day comes your way every Saturday at 11:30 Eastern Time. That's 8:30 a.m. Pacific. Chris Fowler and Lee Corso doing a great job today. Tim Brando, usually part of our crew. We want to congratulate Tim and his wife on the birth of their child a couple of days ago.
Really happy for Tim and his wife, and hope everything's going well.
Larry Vanderheyden, the offensive coordinator, was the man with the chalkboard. Virginia trails 7-0. They have the football. 1st and 10 at their own 20. Moore keeps on the option. Sean Moore says, hey, Deshaun Cameron, I can run the option too.
As we talked about it earlier, when you have a quarterback that can throw the football like Sean Moore, but also run the option, it puts so much pressure on the defense. First of all, the different formations they give to the Clemson defense, they can't do a lot on defense. You can't blitz a quarterback that runs so well that you have corners and linebackers on people running down the field.
Moore came up just short of a 1st down. It's 2nd and less than a yard. Perhaps a free play. George Welsh is happy to pick up the 1st down. He gave it to the fullback. And Gary Steele, the backup fullback, crashed ahead to pick up the 1st down. He's a sophomore from Chesterfield, Virginia.
In the first ball game, both of them had a relatively easy time, so really they're not sure they're ball clubs yet, both staffs and how many people you substitute and so forth. I think Clemson's probably a little deeper depth-wise than Virginia would be.
1st and 10 Cavaliers at their own 34. 7-0 Clemson, 7:44 left in the 1st half. Herman Moore is open. He dropped the football. He got tangled up with the official running downfield. It was more or less double coverage. Dexter Davis and the official running stride for stride with Herman Moore.
Montez. An excellent throw by Sean Moore. You see him here as he rolls, fakes the tailback counter and rolls to the left. They clear out with Bruce McGonigal and run a post pattern with Herman Moore. You see how open he is. And the official is in the way.
They've got to throw the flag with 12 men on the field there. Clemson had the extra man. He was wearing the stripes, but he was out there.
The defensive player made a great effort by Clemson on the last second.
Tough break for the Cavaliers. Back to the option on 2nd and 10, and that's not going anywhere. Moore hit by Doug Brewster first behind the line of scrimmage. And Herman Moore still shaking his head about the official and Dexter Davis with the coverage.
You know, sometimes when bad things like that happen, you just have a tendency not to be able to come back on the next play. But what happened here, blocking just broke down. Sean Moore was never able to take the ball to the corner on the option. Too much pressure from inside.
Ashley Shepard the first hit. Brewster helped finish off Sean Moore. 3rd and 12. Man open. McGonigal. First down, Virginia. Into Clemson territory at the 48-yard line. Robert O'Neill made the tackle. 19-yard pickup for Virginia.
Bruce McGonigal in a 3-receiver set, which Virginia calls cheetahs. Herman Moore clears out first, and here you'll see coming on about an 18-yard in route is Bruce McGonigal, finally brought down by Robert O'Neill, sophomore defensive back.
2 catches for McGonigal for 29 yards. Nicky Fisher the carry. He plunged ahead for about 4.
Sean, that's what Virginia needs to do. They have to establish the fullback because it's going to be a perimeter game. You can see it. It's developed that way for Clemson and for Virginia. To be able to run the football, you're going to have to run it outside until you wear them down. And pass-wise, it looks like it's going to be play-action type passes that open.
Again, 4 wideouts. That cheetah formation that Mike was mentioning. Man open. Terrence Tomlin, first down. Down to the 30 and out of bounds. Terrence Tomlin, his first catch, a sophomore from Lauderhill, Florida.
Well, I'll tell you what, they brought this crowd back in the football game. The one thing that Clemson would like to do is take them out early, but Virginia's not allowing them to do it. It's just a quick 5-step drop and a quick hitch route where Terrence Tomlin makes the catch. Dexter Davis fell down, but he did a good job of recovering to come up and make the play. Again, good mixture by both teams. Virginia run and pass is excellent.
From the 29 of Clemson, Derek Dooley. 5-yard pickup to the 24. His first catch of the afternoon.
Same thing on the other side. Same quick hitch out of a different formation. What you like to do offensively is package a lot of your favorite plays into different formations, and that's what they're doing right now. Look for McGonigal again. He's working against some linebackers, and he's got some great speed to be able to do that.
Sean Moore starting to heat up. He's now 6 for 11 for 76 yards. 2nd down, 5. Clemson leads 7-0. Inside of 5 minutes to play in the half. Moore stopped short of the first down. Doug Brewster hit him. Moore showed some toughness as he bounced off that hit and lunged forward for an extra yard.
It's tough to option a team as quick as Clemson. Once again, as you establish a fullback and you establish the wide games, everything starts to open up a little bit more. But Clemson comes off blocks very quickly, and they are really fast.
Chris Borsari, senior right guard, being helped off the field. It is already a somewhat thin offensive line for Virginia.
It really is. They can't afford any injuries on either side of the ball right now for Virginia.
That's Borsari putting the block on Levon Kirkland. Might have been a shoulder injury. That's where Kirkland hit him. 10th play of the drive upcoming, and it's the biggest one to this point. 3rd down and 3 from the 22 of Clemson. The Cavaliers trail 7-0. 4:10 to play in the half. Kirby into the line.
He was fortunate to get one. He made it perhaps to the 21, and that's all. And the field goal team will come on for the Cavs.
Tried to work Kirby inside on that Clemson defense, probably feeling that Clemson would think they were going to roll out or play action pass. Clemson stuffed the play and got people in the penetration on the offensive line of Virginia.
Jake McInerney has made 16 of his last 17 field goal attempts dating back to last year. That's a 38-yarder right down the middle. The senior from McLean, Virginia, Jake McInerney, has Virginia on the board with 3:26 left till halftime. It's now the Tigers by 4. Coming up following our football game, we send you out to Provo, Utah for the battle between number 16 BYU and number 1 Miami. BYU has Ty Detmer, but they also have plenty of talent surrounding him, and Chris Smith, Matt Bellini, and Andy Boyce. And the Cougars are talking of national champion if they can get past Miami.
Well, they have a giant hurdle tonight. So I have got, as I said before earlier, respect for both programs. Miami just has so many players and done such a great job recruiting. And they're strong on defense.
What are your thoughts about the way this football game has gone?
Well, I think this is, I think if you're Kenny Hatfield, you like the flow. If you're George Welsh, you like the flow. You have to realize Virginia's 4 possessions that they've had, they've started on their own 16-yard line, so they've had very poor field position. They've been able to come out and get us 3 points right now, draw a little blood, feel a little bit good about themselves. Now, again, this is a key series. Clemson has been able to run on their defense and been able to get the quarterback outside. That was the concern of the Virginia staff. Virginia must try to keep them from not going outside.
Michael Husted will kick off. Short kick taken by Doug Thomas at the 15. He had a seam, returned it 14 yards to the 29. First and 10 Clemson. They have the football with 3:20 left in the half, leading 7-3.
One thing also, if you're Virginia, you like the way this game's gone because you don't want to get into a scoring match with Clemson because their defense is too strong. The maximum points I would think that you would expect is maybe 3 touchdowns in this type of ball game, a 21-point type of game. So you don't want to get into a scoring affair with them.
Option for Cameron. Out to the 35, a gain of 6 on first down. He stayed in bounds. The clock continues to run down to 3:10.
And I heard Bill Walsh talk, and he talked about the ball in space. And that's what the option gives you. You've got the threat of the dive, you got the threat of the quarterback run, you got the threat of the pitch. So Clemson has an offense that's going to put pressure on you the whole game. What I think is going to open up now for Clemson is the long play action pass.
That's what George Welsh wanted to avoid, the big play. That's been the undoing of Virginia against Clemson in the past. Blunt hesitated behind the line of scrimmage to pick his hole, then squirted forward. Short of a first down, it would appear. Needed to come up just shy of the 39, and he just did get across the 38, about a half-yard short.
And that wishbone offense, that's the 3rd counter misdirection play they've run. And again, they're trying to attack that inside linebacker group of Virginia. Time becomes a factor.
2 timeouts left for each team. Ken Hatfield and the Tigers 3 for 7 on 3rd down.
This is an important drive because you'd like to go in just like it is right now.
Cameron, option. Close to a first down. He appears to have it if they spot him near the 40. And they will. First down, Clemson, with 1:49 left in the half.
Now Virginia has to be able to protect against the quarterback rollout, but also that play action post. You've got a long way to score. You got the clock in your favor if you're Virginia. Even though the timeouts, they both have 2 timeouts left, Virginia cannot afford a big play against them right now.
running. Cameron in trouble. Threw it away. Flag flies. Howard Hall was in the area of that throw, but the referee was right there, Dale Phillips, and he says that was grounding on the part of Deshaun Cameron.
Well, I don't know about that call. I tell you what, there was tremendous pressure on him because they had a bust in the backfield. Somebody went the wrong way, but it was a naked play again. If you watch on this play, Deshaun Cameron fakes the wrong way, but there's so much pressure on him. I think he saw the receiver.
That's a bad call.
Gee, I tell you what, I think that is really a lousy call. Great pressure by Chris Slade again. I think Deshaun Cameron did exactly what he needed to do right there.
You could see from that replay he saw the receiver that was open upfield. Sure, he was about to get hit and knew he had to get rid of it, but there was a receiver close enough.
It was just tight end Stacy Fields.
That one's dumped off and caught by Blunt. He stopped at the 30. If you're Virginia, do you think about timeouts here?
Yes, you do, because you want the ball back, because you have a very quick, explosive offense. They are going to call one right here. So your offense can work without timeouts. You can round it with a new rule that college football has right now. And so they want the ball back. It's important. Hold them here, get the ball back in Sean Moore's hands.
We know you'll stay tuned at halftime with Chris Fowler and Lee Corso for the Rayovac halftime report. College football into full gear now. Some very big games today, including this one, and Chris and Lee will have highlights and comments about all of the day's college football action. George Welsh, former Navy officer, finished third in the Heisman Trophy balloting as a quarterback at Navy in 1955.
When the party of the first part achieves control of 51%
of automation caused productivity to rise.
and the manufacturing division is currently operating at
A successful reallocation of resources.
Occasionally, mergers produce results that individuals would find impossible to produce on their own. D&B software, state-of-the-art software, and service worthy of it.
When the day is long, the pressure is on. You're working hard, you're out in the yard. You don't have the time, but you gotta unwind. You know the one, it's McDonald's for food, folks, and fun.
So how was your day, Billy?
Mr. Ian McKenzie. I'm Angus McKenzie. Ian's moved down the road.
Today, with service to more than 180 countries,
Oh, you'd be wanting you now, Mr. Mackenzie.
UPS delivers to nearly 4 billion people,
Russell for McKenzie.
including the extraordinary concentration of Mackenzies along the northeast coast of Scotland.
Mr. Ian Alistair McKenzie.
No trouble finding me, did you, lad?
No trouble at all.
UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
It is over in Legion Field. The Alabama Crimson Tide beaten by Southern Miss 27-24. Jim Taylor, a 52-yard field goal with 3.5 minutes left to break the tie. Gene Stallings loses in his debut. Alabama, one of 3 top 25 teams, beaten at home. We'll tell you all about it at halftime. Let's go back to Charlottesville now. Sean and Mike.
And we can relate that score to this score. Talk about the transition of Gene Stallings. Same can be said for Ken Hatfield at Clemson.
Tough loss for Alabama. Transition years is very difficult for somebody to come in from the outside into a staff and where players have been recruited by a different coach, and then all of a sudden he's in there. You're vulnerable early in the season for that.
What do you do if you're Clemson on 3rd and 20?
I don't want to give up a big play here. I'd run the sprint draw and then punt the football.
1:10 left in the half. 7-3 Tigers. Blitz is on. Cameron lost the football. It is not a touchdown, but Virginia will get the football where James Pearson picked it up at the 23-yard line. Chris Slade knocked it free. James Pearson recovered. 1st and 10 Cavaliers at the 23 of Clemson.
Chris Slade came from the weak side. Watch 85 here. He beats the block, the tackle. Not quick enough to block him. He's able to hit Deshaun Cameron from the backside. Caused the fumble, something you really didn't want to happen at this time of game. Now Virginia Has to be able to come away with a touchdown right here. Slade again bearing down. Nice tackle. Tackled him right high where the ball came loose.
I think the point you made was right on. You already have the lead. You're not a passing team. You're facing 3rd and 20. It's unlikely you'll pick it up anyway, but they tried to pass and they paid the price. The ball is incomplete. Herman Moore, one of the best in the nation, but he's bobbled and dropped a couple here in the early going.
It was a tough catch. As I watched that, it almost looked like there was a little interference on that play. Sean Moore, a drop back pass, and you see the crossing routes. Magana goes inside on an option play, and again, Herman Moore just dropped the ball. Good coverage by Clemson. Again, as the point I was trying to make earlier, it's important to get a touchdown here. Now, you want a field, you'll take a field goal, but it's important to get the lead here at home. That's the key. Keep this crowd in the game.
56 seconds left in the half. One timeout left for Virginia. 2nd and 10 from the Clemson 23. A screen to Kirby. Has blockers. Short of the first down. Terry Kirby down at the 15-yard line. The clock still running. 45 seconds left, and now it is stopped.
Now you get your 2-minute offense going. 3rd down situation. Need a play here to pick up the first down.
3rd and 1. It's a long one. Moore's going to throw for it. Nice catch, McGonigal. First down, and that'll stop the clock as McGonigal's down at the 9-yard line with 26 seconds left in the half.
Again, McGonigal's a key because he can work on backers and work on the strong safety. Here, what they're going to do is save their timeout. As soon as the ball snapped, he'll try to ground this ball, I would believe. They're trying to get one play off.
Looks like...
Now, there's the ground.
That's what Virginia calls the bingo play, where he just sends it into the ground and stops the clock with 22 seconds left.
A new rule which I really like. College football it's a great game. There's a lot of pageantry and the rules change all the time, but this is an NFL rule I like because the quarterback doesn't have to go back 3 steps, throw the ball high over some wide receiver. They can just kill it like that. Again, it's important. You got 22 seconds to go to get a touchdown. You have one timeout. You can kill the clock for your field goal in different ways, so there's a lot of time here. They should be able to get 3-4 plays off if they need it.
2nd and goal from the 9. Clemson has a 7-3 lead. This the deepest penetration into Tiger territory for Sean Moore and the Cavalier offense. Over the middle, incomplete. Good coverage on the play by Ed McDaniel, number 93. He knocked down the pass for Ken Hatfield.
Just an option pass over the middle where if it's zone, you just sit the receiver down. If it's man coverage, he runs away from it. I think Clemson may have to come after Virginia here. They're right now playing zone coverage. The linebackers are deep. They try to make something happen.
4 wideouts on 3rd and goal from the 9. All day for Sean Moore. Low throw, incomplete.
Terrence Tomlin was open in the back of the end zone.
He threw his hands up over his head as Moore threw it to somebody else, and George Welch has the field goal team on. Jake McInerney kicked a 38-yarder earlier.
They're going to take their shot right here with a field goal. Still enough time for another play, but I believe what George Wells probably feels now is points are important. Let's get this tack 3 on right now.
26-yarder is good. Jake McInerney has now knocked home 18 of his last 19 field goal tries.
If I'm Clemson's defensive coaches right now, Bobby Trout, I feel pretty good because I was able to hold them out and still keep the lead. The important thing is when we go back to the play, my feeling is when you're on the road sometimes as a visiting team, if you can get into halftime with the lead and not a lot of bad things happen to you just before the half, you pick up a psychological edge. Right now, I think momentum is with Virginia right now, but Clemson's defense has to feel very good about that effort.
Coming up in 8 seconds, the Rayovac halftime report with Chris Fowler and Lee Corso. It already has the makings of one of those wild and crazy Saturdays in college football. Alabama having lost to Southern Mississippi. George Welsh trying to defeat Clemson for the first time ever. George Wells says, we've established a solid program now. We've been to bowl games 3 out of the last 6 years. We're a top 20 program. But to take that next step for respect, sooner or later, we have to beat the best team in our league, and that's Clemson. Just 14 yards on that scoring drive after the fumble recovery by Pearson. McInerney the field goal, his second of the afternoon.
The thing about Virginia is the 95-30 rule helped them.
We'll elaborate on that when we have time. The return by Thomas out to the 25 with 4 seconds. Time for one play for Clemson. I bet they stood on the ball this time.
Well, I think they probably will right now. And again, now the work begins for the assistant coaches. As Clemson coaches already headed down to now make your adjustments at halftime. It's been a very well played first half. I think both teams have to feel excited about the way their teams have played. What I was saying about the 95-30 rule brought parity into college football in the 80s, and Virginia's one team that really benefited from it because their attrition rate has been very low.
They'll keep it on the ground with Blunt. That's halftime. When you say 95-30, you're talking about football programs now are only allowed 95 football scholarships and can bring in 30 players a year.
Right. About in 1980-81, that's the rule that went into effect, and it's really helped Virginia.
An exciting first half here in Charlottesville, as we expected. At the half, Clemson 7 and Virginia 6.
Get you up to date. Already today, some top 25 teams have been some top 25 teams have been beaten at home. First to Maryland and West Virginia. Coming in, Joe Krivek, the coach of Maryland. People thought it was a win or else situation. He won his opener against Virginia Tech. Going into Morgantown against the Mountaineers, and Scott Zolak to Barry Johnson. The 8-yard touchdown makes it 7-0 Terps. Fourth quarter. Darren Studstill, the backup quarterback, a 2-yard touchdown pass to John Jones. Mountaineers by 3. But with 2:27 remaining, Scott Zolak to Gene Thomas. 59 yards for the touchdown. Maryland's second straight dramatic victory. 14-10 is the final. And Greg Jones, the Mountaineer quarterback, the replacement for Major Harris, just 6 for 18 passing as the Terrapins open up 2-0. Texas and Penn State, the Nittany Lions coming in ranked against Texas, a team that has really struggled in openers in recent years. Joe Paterno opening up his 25th season and watching in the second half as Texas, trailing by 1, receives the kickoff. That's Adrian Walker. 88 yards down to the Penn State 6-yard line. It'll set up a touchdown. Penn State was leading 7-6. Chris Samuels gives Texas a lead. 6 yards. That's what we recognize about the Longhorn offense, although they threw a lot today. 2-point conversion makes it 14-7. Penn State trailing 17-13, driving. But Mark Berry, the Texas cornerback, look at the diving breakup. One last chance for Tony Sacca and the Nittany Lions. Under 5 seconds left. Sacca rolls out, and the desperation pass is broken up in the end zone. 17-13, Texas wins it. Peter Gardere for Coach David McWilliams, 14 for 28, 210 yards. The Longhorns are happy in Happy Valley. And after the game, I spoke with David McWilliams by telephone. Coach, this is the first time you've won your opener at Texas. What's the significance of this win to your program, to go into a place like Penn State and win on the road to start things off?
Well, I'll tell you, Chris, it is the first opening game we won in 5 years, and certainly we've been on the road every year. But it's just a great springboard for this football team, and it was a great ball game. And Coach Paterno and Penn State, of course, never was a case where we got them out. They just kept coming back, even though we had them down. But it's a great start for us this year.
Is this kind of an I-told-you-so victory for you, fans in Texas wondering when you're going to turn it around?
Yeah, I think so. I'd have to admit I felt that way a bit. You know, I had some questions sometimes there on that fourth quarter because Penn State kept coming back, but it was a very satisfying win for me.
Well, your team fell down 7-0 in a hurry. The opening kickoff returned down inside the 10. Did you think your team would be able to react after getting down so quickly on the road in the opener?
Well, you know, it was about 30 seconds and we're behind 7-0, and I wasn't quite sure what they would do. I felt like that senior leadership would help, and then we did come back and make a good drive offensively, and then our defense settled down and played very well. So I felt much better at the half going in because I felt like that we'd turned the momentum a little bit by halftime, and they hadn't gotten back in the end zone, and we blocked the field goal against them. So I think it showed a lot of character of our players hanging in there after getting behind 7-0 so early.
I'm not sure that your Longhorn fans are going to recognize that Texas offense. Use a lot of single back, and you seem to be pinning your hopes this season on the development of quarterback Peter Gardere.
Right. I felt like that in the spring and during 2 days we were going to be in the one back. The great thing was we wanted to establish some running game in that one back, and we were able to do that today. And Peter played very well for an opening ball game. He really took us on some good drives and made some crucial third down plays for us.
Okay, thanks very much, Coach David McWilliams. His Longhorns win the opener 17-13. Next up, Colorado after a week off. So there it is, McWilliams' first win ever in an opener. That's going to take a lot of pressure off of him. Is it too early to call this upset Saturday? Well, we've seen 2 top 25 teams beaten at home already. Here is number 3. Alabama shocked by Southern Mississippi 27-24. Southern Miss last beat Alabama Lee in Bear Bryant's final game in Tuscaloosa.
Well, you know, Alabama has beaten Southern Mississippi 5 straight times, and everybody in Alabama is talking about, we're going to beat Auburn, we're going to beat Auburn. Better quit worrying about Auburn and try to get ready for Florida next week after this loss.
And Gene Stallings, maybe the shortest honeymoon in history.
Listen, they're talking about Auburn. Auburn, that's all I ever heard there. Stallings is going to beat Auburn. They better worry about Florida. They better get themselves ready, because I tell you what, it's a good SEC this year.
And Brett Favre, the quarterback for Mississippi, or for Southern Miss, rather, coming off the bench, and a surprise player in that game, playing pretty well. Tennessee handling Mississippi State rather easily, 40-7. They had trouble winning down in Starkville over the years, but even without Chuck Webb, they win it easily, 40-7, as Webb's replacement, Tony Thompson, has a huge ball game. Nebraska and Northern Illinois. This game competitive for a while, just as last year's game was between these two teams, but the Huskers end up cruising by a score of 60-14. Flowers, 21 carries, 124 yards and a touchdown, and Mickey Joseph, who started at quarterback in replace of Grant, a touchdown pass and a touchdown run. Some more top 25 scores coming up in just a minute, as well as scores from around the country. Don't go away. The Rayovac halftime report continues after this.
The Rayovac halftime report is brought to you by Rayovac, batteries that turn.
Had an easy time winning in Pittsburgh their last 2 trips, but this is a new Pitt team, and Paul Hackett has things going offensively and defensively. Pitt ranked number 17, and the special teams had a big day. Vernon Lewis blocking the Bill Kushner punt attempt, a safety for Pitt, led it 5-zip in the second quarter. Then Alex Van Pelt, usual sharp self, 23 yards to Orlando Truitt, sets up a Panther touchdown, 12-0. Paul Hackett likes what he sees. More Panther success on defense. Big Sean Gilbert clobbering Glenn Foley, the Boston College quarterback, and when they weren't sacking the quarterback, they were intercepting his passes. Doug Hetzler, the nifty pickoff, rumbling in 15 yards. One of 6 interceptions for the Panthers today. Boston College in all had 7 turnovers. Pittsburgh's defense scores 9 points. They win it easily, 29-6. Texas Tech and Ohio State. This game, a low-scoring one, and it's 3-0 Texas Tech over Ohio State, as now we see the score, a 37-yard field goal for Elliott. They've now moved to the third quarter, and the Red Raiders of Spike Dykes shutting out Ohio State in Columbus. Oklahoma and UCLA are playing in the Rose Bowl, a matchup of top 25 teams, one of 3 in the day. Oklahoma controlling things on the ground, but UCLA hanging tough here. This is Sean Wills. Plunges over from 2 yards out. That ties the game at 14. But after UCLA fumbles a punt, Oklahoma cashes in. Mike McKinley pounds straight ahead. The big guy gets it in from 10 yards out, 21-14. And UCLA fumbled a punt to set up another touchdown. Some mistakes for the Bruins. They move to the third quarter. The Sooners continue to lead by a touchdown. Washington and San Jose State. I'll tell you what, Don James' team always has trouble with San Jose State. They won by a field goal 2 years ago. They lead by a field goal now, this game in the third quarter. And Houston against UNLV, trying to stop the run and shoot are the running Rebels. It is 7-0 in the first quarter. It was 67-0 last year in this ball game. Houston has won the last 2 games by a score of 129-zip. When we come back, some results from the U.S. Open and some more college football scores as the Rayovac halftime report continues. Don't go away.
The Gridiron Glory.
In the Rose Bowl, Oklahoma has scored again. They now lead the Bruins by 2 touchdowns in the third quarter of that one. San Jose State has tied the game up in Seattle, 10-10 with Washington. That game late in the third quarter. That would be a major upset. Houston and UNLV. Didn't take long for Houston after UNLV had kicked a field goal to score another touchdown. John Jenkins' team up 14-3. That game still in the first quarter. Moving on, this game a big one in the ACC. Georgia Tech beating NC State 21-13. They have now won 8 out of 9 games, obviously going back to last year, and they are thinking bowl as they beat the Pac for the first time since '86. Navy comes back to beat Richmond 28-17 as Alton Grizzard has 3 touchdown passes, 1 rushing touchdown for George Chomp's debut. California, in our first game here on ESPN today, beat Wisconsin in Madison 28-12. James Hardy helping out the cause with a 100-yard interception return. Florida over Oklahoma State in Steve Spurrier's debut at halftime big, 26-7. Willie McClendon has a 1-yard touchdown run. Iowa State got a scare early. They come back to beat Northern Iowa by a score of 35-6. Blaze Bryant gets his Heisman campaign going with 177 yards and 4 touchdowns, tying a school record. TCU, a tight one over Missouri on the road in the opener for both teams, 20-19. Missouri missed 2 extra points in this game. Obviously, it proved costly. Air Force over Hawaii, 27-3. Bob Wagner's team struggling. They were blown out at home by Texas A&M last week. They lose by 24 points in Colorado Springs as Air Force evens their record at 1-1. More in the Rayovac halftime report in just a minute as Clemson leads Virginia 7-6.
Time Clemson 7 and Virginia 6. A hard-nosed football game in the first half. Both sides playing well on defense, although both sides did move the football. Sean McDonough along with Mike Gottfried. We hope you're enjoying this important battle in the ACC as Virginia tries to end its 29-game losing streak against Clemson. 7 and Virginia 6. A hard-nosed football game in the first half. Both sides playing well on defense, although both sides did move the football. Sean McDonough along with Mike Gottfried. We hope you're enjoying this important battle in the ACC as Virginia tries to end its 29-game losing streak against Clemson. Really an excellent first half.
Really a good defensive football game. Not many mistakes, only one penalty by both teams. So they're both playing maximum effort right now, not making a lot of mistakes.
First score of the football game for Clemson, Deshaun Cameron. Their quarterback scored from 25 yards.
It's a play-action fake, but I believe this is a run all the way. They pulled Eric Harmon on the backside. Deshaun Cameron is a quarterback that when he gets to the corner is dangerous. Here he breaks a tackle by Joe Hall, gets in the end zone, and I would think that would be, they would go to that a little bit more in the second half, a little bit more play action trying to get Cameron on the outside.
For Virginia, some sporadic offense, 2 field goals, their points on the board from Jake McInerney. The second field goal set up by a big defensive play on a surprising call by the Clemson offense on 3rd and 20.
Well, both teams aren't giving up the big play. Kenny Hatfield in that play was trying to make something happen on offense, which you've got to respect. Here, Slade beats the block of the tackle. It was so quick, and Cameron never seemed coming from the blind side. He tackled him high, which resulted in the fumble.
James Pearson, the recovery that gave Virginia the ball at the Clemson 23. They kicked a field goal of 28 yards by McInerney. First half stats, 8 first downs apiece. Rushing yards firmly in favor of Clemson. Passing yards firmly in favor of Virginia. And the time of possession, 4 minutes in favor of the Tigers of Clemson. Deshaun Cameron will have to wait for a while as Clemson will kick off to start the second half.
Get the big play. They'll still try to get their offense in gear where they're throwing, but I look for more option out of Virginia. I look for more play action pass with Sean Moore working the corner. Clemson, I look for them to do this very same thing. I think you'll see a mirrored offense on both sides.
Chris Gardocki boots it away. Tyrone Lewis brought it across the 20 and out to the 22. That's where Virginia begins the second half on offense. 1st and 10, trailing by a point. Albert Bussey has to be calmed down as he got up off the pile.
The key so far that it's become a defensive game is both teams are playing coverage, and coverage that is not allowing anything big, although we did have the post pattern to Herman Moore if he would have hit that. Sean Moore 8 for 17, 89 yards. I look for him to throw a little bit more here in the second half.
And his stats could have been better were it not for a couple of drop passes. Kirby thrown for a loss of 3 on the first play from scrimmage in the second half.
When you have a good kicker like Gardocki, sometimes you force the offensive teams that you're playing into poor field position. All 4 of the drives that Virginia had in the first half started on their own 16-yard line. Now they're starting on the 20. So again, he's done his job for the Clemson defense.
It was an average start at the 16 of Virginia for the Cavs in the first half, with the exception of that fumble recovery of the Clemson 23. Catch is made very close to a first down. McGonigal, the tight end, paid the price as he made the hit. Made the catch, rather. He took the hit. 13 yards, and it will depend on the spot of the football.
A sprint out by Sean Moore, where he's moving to the right. You see Bruce McGonigal release inside and then just sit down. You'll see him sit down right here in the void and make the catch. He's a smart receiver. If he'd have kept running, he'd have been covered. But he sat down in the open seam, made the catch.
They say for the first 10 or 15 yards downfield, he is as quick off the ball as Herman Moore. 3rd down, less than 1. They go to the fullback, Dave Sweeney, and it looks like he'll have the first down. They spot his forward progress at the 31. He needed only the 30.
I'll tell you one thing, on that particular play, they lit him up.
First down, Virginia.
Dave Sweeney made the first down. He paid a price for that. Good blocking by the interior line, but the linebackers, Doug Brewster, just with a great hit there.
Brewster, the senior from Athens, Georgia.
Look for some kind of play action pass here on first down or rollout.
Looking to the near side for Derek Dooley. He goes out of bounds with a first down at the 43-yard line. Second catch of the game for Derek Dooley.
This game will be decided on which team is able to continue the perimeter game. Right now, it looks like Virginia's in a pretty good flow of what they want to get done. They're doing a lot of substitutions, a lot of formations, moving the tight end around, trying to keep Clemson off guard a little bit.
Less than 2 minutes played in the third quarter. Virginia goes to the reverse to Terrence Tomlin. He has room down the sideline. Out of bounds at the 34 of Clemson is Terrence Tomlin.
Excellent call. Fake to dive for the tailback and then come out like you're going to roll out. Terrence Tomlin comes around the reverse. Nice job by the lead tackle. Open it up for Terrence Tomlin.
Blocking downfield as well by 54, Chris Stearns. Gain of 23, first and 10 Cavs. Moore keeps it on the option. Bounces off a tackler. He's close to a first down. Robert O'Neill made the tackle for Clemson. Virginia on the move to start the second half.
Extra dimension of the running quarterback. The reverse was an excellent call. Paul Brown, the great coach of the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals, used to always believe if you were going to use a trick play, you use it first to try to discourage the other side from using theirs. When a team runs as well as both these teams run, the reverse is a good play.
Moore picked up 8 on first down. Second and less than 2. That's another first down. Down to the 20-yard line. Dave Sweeney, the fullback, sophomore from Salem, Virginia, was taken out of the game by Welsh. Gary Steele went in, and he picked up the first down.
Now, here is where Virginia will have their toughest time, because Clemson has given up very few points. Their scoring defense in 1989, 11 points a game. Virginia will have to work these 20 yards. Again, probably throw on first down. That's been what they've been having success with.
8th play of the drive, first and 10 at the 20 of Clemson. Movement in the line. Clemson defensive linemen claiming they were drawn off.
It's a noise factor right now. This crowd is loud. 29 years of frustration, and all of a sudden they keep bringing the noise level up a little bit.
There isn't a seat to be had, nor is there a blade of grass to be had in the end zone. All of those folks you see in the far end zone sitting on a grassy hill. First and 15. Going for Herman Moore, too high. Dexter Davis have the coverage for Clemson.
Play action fake, post pattern, covered pretty well by Clemson. That 5-yard penalty hurt because it takes you into a different play calling mood right now. Second down now, and look for something just over the middle a little bit, and again maybe work with McGonigal a little.
Strong start to the second half for Sean Moore and the Virginia offense. They're just about into the field goal range of McInerney. He does not have a particularly strong leg. He is accurate. Kirby out of bounds, short of a first down, inside the 15 at the 13-yard line. McInerney is ready if called upon. Virginia would prefer to pick up the first down. They're facing 3rd and 3.
Very important call here with the wide side of the field to Sean Moore's left side. I think it'd be, again, something that is going to roll this way. Maybe a quick out by Herman Moore. Or McGonigal on the flat.
Moore can run for the first down. Inside the 5 and down at the 4-yard line.
could run for the first down. He tucked the ball down, took off, picked up a key first down right here. Now the Clemson defense on the other side. They take a lot of pride in their defense. 4-yard line. This is no automatic score.
First and goal from the 4. Clemson leads 7-6 in the third quarter. Batted away. Great defensive play by Dexter Davis. First team All-CC last year. That's why he's one of the best in the ACC.
Wow. I'm going to tell you something. Excellent play call by the Virginia coaches. In a wishbone look, a good fake. Watch the dive by the running back. But an outstanding job by Dexter Davis. Game of inches. There's another look. Sean Moore's got him, but you see the extra effort by Dexter Davis. You talk about football, game of inches. I'm going to tell you something. These people are all fired up. The players are. And again, Clemson, strong goal line defense.
Defensive coordinator Bob Trotz says Dexter Davis is one of the best defensive backs in the country. Tough to argue after that play. Timeout called by Sean Moore. Virginia looking at second and goal from the 4. 11:21 left in the third quarter. Clemson clinging to a 7-6 lead. ESPN's presentation of college football, Clemson versus Virginia, is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, simply phone your nearest BMW dealer. Sean McDonough and Mike Gottfried, privileged to be on hand for this exciting ACC battle between Clemson and Virginia. George Welsh trailing 7-6, but the Cavs are facing second and goal from the 4.
I look for the option play right here, or something where Sean Moore will be the factor of rolling out. I still believe it'll be an option.
They toss it to Kirby. Cuts inside. Touchdown, Virginia. Virginia the lead, and you saw George Welsh say that the Cavaliers will go for 2.
They're going for 1. They have the kicker on the field.
He was holding up 2 fingers, but now apparently he's changed his mind.
It is a 2-point play call. I mean, this is where you'd want your 2-point play.
McInerney boots it through. Virginia place kickers have now made 133 straight PATs.
See right here, Bruce McGonigal with a good block on the outside linebacker, opening up Terry Kirby where he gets a little seam and then he leaps into the end zone. The key block there was by the tight end.
Cavaliers lead by 6 in the third quarter. Leads for the first time in the football game, 13-7. Their first drive of the second half went the length of the football field, igniting the crowd at Scott Stadium. Eric Jeter at the top of your screen. Number 41 is Doug Thomas, back to receive the kickoff from Michael Husted. Short kick. Jeter started at his 12. Great coverage, but he breaks away from it. The kicker helped chase him to the near sideline, where he was taken down by Buddy Omohundro, number 46. For an update on the game between Texas Tech and Ohio State, here's Chris.
Fellas, another upset in the making. This one in Columbus. Number 18 Ohio State tied 3-3 with Texas Tech when junior Jamie Gill finds Anthony Lynn 52 yards for a touchdown. 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Tech up 10-3. Back to Charlottesville.
Thank you, Chris. Clemson on offense for the first time in the second half. Tony Kennedy with his first tackle. And this inspired defense knocked him down shortly after he crossed the line of scrimmage. Ricky Peete, son of golfer Calvin Peete, made the tackle.
Clemson has not thrown the ball on first down, and they've had success running the football, but they need to get a little bit more mixture now into the offense, whether throwing or rolling out the quarterback. Both linebackers there. P.J. Killian does a nice job of coming up and making the play. Also got help from Pearson.
2nd and 8 from the 29 of Clemson. Rodney Blunt. Taken down by Don Reynolds, number 94.
Again, the thing that you worry about if you're Clemson is your young backs staying in the ball game and getting what you need. You don't want an emotional edge on Virginia's side and you not be able to respond. This is a key play for Deshaun Cameron.
3rd down and 6. Blitz is on. Cameron has a man open, and the ball dropped by Doug Thomas.
Great throw by Deshaun Cameron. Kenny Hatfield just telling him just hang in there. Nice call by the coaches. Nice execution. Doug Thomas runs an out. Got Jason Wallace turned the wrong way. Just took his eye off the ball just a little bit too soon to start heading upfield.
Deshaun thought it was a first down and a big gainer. Instead, it's off to the sideline and on with Chris Gardocki. What a weapon Chris Gardocki is. Another booming punt. Wallace from the 15 finds a seam. All kinds of running room along the sideline. One man to beat Gardocki. Here comes help from behind, and they take him down to the 7-yard line. Norris Brown, number 23, came a long way to make a touchdown-saving tackle.
Sometimes your weapon can kick the ball and out-kick your coverage, and I believe that's what happened. He got such a great kickoff. The punt returned by Jason Wallace. You see there's nobody there. The punt was out-kicked the coverage, and once he got in the lane, he was off and running.
Great hustle by Norris Brown, saved the touchdown. 1st and goal, Kirby juggled it. Spins away, still on his feet. And after all that, he got just about back to the line of scrimmage. A 79-yard punt return for Jason Wallace after a punt of 55 yards by Chris Gardocki.
An excellent punt, 55 yards, and it was high. And again, the coverage did not get down there quick enough.
Second and goal from the 7 movement. Ray Roberts moved out of his stance, the left tackle, number 72.
Got a dead ball, false start on the offense, 5-yard penalty.
Just the 3rd penalty of the game.
Well, both coaches, you look at George Welsh, where he's been in Navy, he was an officer there. And when you prepare for Virginia, it's almost like preparing for an academy-type team. I played against Navy, and George Welsh has brought some discipline in, and he brought in a well-conditioned team. I'll tell you, he was left some very good athletes by a very good coach, Dick Bestwick, when he first arrived.
Cavs backed up to the 12, 2nd and goal. Virginia leads 13-7 with 8.5 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Moore hit as he throws. Herman Moore, what a catch! Touchdown, Virginia! McInerney. Remains perfect in extra points. Virginia kickers haven't missed a PAT since 1985.
They blitzed and left Herman Moore man-to-man coverage with Jerome Henderson. This is a basketball play. Sean Moore just puts it up for grabs. It's jump ball right here. And he uses that 6'5" frame to shield Jerome Henderson away from the football and make the score. Great reaction by Sean Moore.
And Herman Moore is the ACC indoor high jump champion. His college best high jump, 7 feet 2 3/4 inches. Those skills certainly help there.
Well, he's got 2 points now for the summer meet, the ACC meet. You give him them and give him in the summer. There's another look at the touchdown. Straight drop back pass, a blitz for the first time. They almost got to Sean Moore. He put it up to grab. Here's another look from your living room.
Herman dropped a couple earlier. He atoned for it in a big way right there.
It's an important drive for Clemson right now. Need to put a good series together.
Hugh Smith kicks off. Jeter started at the 7. Reached the 23. Scott Stadium is rocking. Here's Chris.
Hold on now. Ohio State and Texas Tech. Here's how the Buckeyes tied things up in Columbus. Robert Smith, the freshman, takes the pitch, goes in for the touchdown from 2 yards out. 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. The game is tied at 10. I hope that's the first of many career touchdowns for Smith. Very highly thought up prep player. Back to Charlottesville.
As Mike says, an important sequence on offense for Clemson. 1st and 10 from their 24. The momentum has clearly shifted to the Cavaliers of Virginia. There's a good start for the Tigers. Complete pass. Terry Smith out to the 36-yard line.
Clemson has had some success around the football. It's the first pass on 1st down. The sprint out was thrown very well. Good route by Kenny Hatfield and his group. Kenny's on the sideline, probably just saying the same thing. Stay calm here. We've been in big ball games before. And as I said before, it's down 13. They're very capable of making that up.
With all kinds of time. 8 minutes left in the third quarter. One. Driven back by Lewis. Finished off by 3 others. Tyrone Lewis, the junior from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, made the big play.
If you're watching this one in your living room, you might want to take a look at this hit. Excellent tackle by Tyrone Lewis. That's how you draw it up.
He's playing strong safety. They say he's not really as big as you would like for a strong safety at 5'10", 190 pounds. Cameron through the hands of Smith.
Pressure on that pass play came from Joe Hall, number 78. Frank Spaziani, the defensive coordinator, he's had some injuries. He's had his secondary lose some key people. He has got a maximum effort to this point out of his defense. On the other side of the ball, Clemson has a young offense. So tailback to quarterback, and Frank Spaziani right there, giving the defensive signals. You always see 2 coaches giving them, one's live and one's not.
Frank's the gentleman in the background who just pointed a moment ago and has the headset now off, screaming with the defense. On 3rd and 12. That pass is incomplete. Rodney Blunt, the intended receiver, along the Virginia sideline. Even if he caught it, it didn't appear as though he'd have a first down. Flag down on the play. That would have
imagine they'd decline it. Fourth down is upcoming.
We have a substitution infraction on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. The penalty is declined. Fourth down.
You know what that might be, Sean? There's been a late substitution come on the field, and when you leave like that late, sometimes you can be penalized for that.
Gardocki to punt. His last punt 55 yards, but it was returned 79 yards by Jason Wallace. He's waiting for this kick. From the 18. And down at the 16. Mitch Belton made the tackle. Virginia with the ball and a 20-7 lead.
It's never been said, but you always felt like, you know, Clemson's going to do something to win. We're waiting for something to happen. This year we realized we're going to have to win. We're going to have to make big plays to win, and we're going to make the win happen. We're not going to sit there and wait for Clemson to give it to us.
Bit of clairvoyance from Joe Hall. They have made big plays. The punt return a big play. The fumble a big play in the first half.
And the pass reception by Herman Moore is a big play down here. When they practiced on Thursday, they practiced with a quiet confidence about him for a team that's been beaten 29 times. But again, this ball game's far from over. And Clemson, this is a strength of their defense. I think Virginia has to continue to turn the heat up on the Clemson defense and keep trying to throw the ball and run the option.
If you're just joining us, Virginia has never defeated Clemson in football. They are 0-29 all time against the Tigers. They lead 20-7 midway through the third. The pass complete to Dooley. He's out of bounds, close to a first down at the 27-yard line.
Excellent call. Again, when things are going well and you're sitting with a 13-point lead, now's the time to go after them and keep them off balance. Nice reception by Derek Dooley. I'm sure Vince is watching this game somewhere. He and his wife Barbara are very proud of their son here, who's playing an excellent football game.
And an outstanding student as well. On the ground with the fullback, Gary Steele. He's been dividing time at fullback this afternoon with Dave Sweeney.
We're going to have poise. If they make a play, all right.
You can hear Larry Vanderheen, the offensive coordinator, talk about poise and making a big play.
He's a good football coach. He knows he's got a young quarterback, young tailback, young fullback, and just be patient and poised.
From the 29 of Virginia, first and 10 Cavaliers. They fake the reverse to Tomlin. Going deep into double coverage, incomplete. Moore had two defenders running with him.
They ran the reverse early, so they felt like they'd come back on the post pattern, but it was very well covered by Clemson. This has been a game, as we talked about earlier, misdirection on both sides. And Virginia's done a very good job of throwing on first down, running on second down, trying to do the opposite of what Clemson expects them to do.
6:21 left in the third quarter. Virginia leads 20-7. Second and 10 for the Cavaliers at their own 29. Nicky Fisher. First down, Virginia. Gain of 12 yards to the 42.
They ran the option into the weak side of the field where they had the backer walked off on the offense, on the wide receiver, Herman Moore. When Herman Moore starts hurting you like that in a long yardage situation, they took the backer out to protect and try to help on Herman Moore, but it opened the option up.
Nicky Fisher, the backup tailback. The coaches say there's just a little drop off when Kirby goes out and Fisher comes in, but not much. Virginia dominating the third quarter. Herman Moore too high. Jerome Henderson had the coverage.
Sometimes those plays aren't going to be successful, but they'll pay off down the road somewhere, because you're explaining to that defense that we're staying after you and we're going to throw the ball down the field, which should open some shorter throws here before long.
2nd and 10. Over the middle, caught and dropped. Herman Moore had it into his hands, and then it fell out. That's the 4th drop by Herman Moore.
It's a big play here for Clemson. You're only trailing by 13. The 2-point play, you still have a chance here of scoring 2 touchdowns to win this football game. Now Virginia's got to be thinking about trying to get down and get the field goal to offset the 1 point that they could use right now to make it a 21-7 lead.
3rd down and 10 for Virginia. Going deep. Moore had it batted away. Eric Jeter, the nickelback, had the coverage downfield.
I tell you, that was a fine job by Eric Jeter, because Herman Moore did exactly what he was trying to do, and he stripped him on the way down. Just a streak route by Herman Moore. Tomlin works inside. Moore was trying to position himself again, just like he did on that touchdown run, but watch him come down and strip it. He hit his arm and stripped the ball.
Jeter's just a sophomore from Newman, Georgia. Garneau, wobbly kick. Good bounce for the Cavaliers, out of bounds inside the 16-yard line. Ed Garneau, Jr. from Gladwin, Pennsylvania, pins Clemson deep in its own territory. Well, Ron Franklin and Gary Danielson have a tough act to follow at 7:30 Eastern time tonight as they bring you the ball game from Utah between BYU and Miami. That game coming up at 7:30 Eastern time. Number 1 Hurricanes against the number 16 BYU ball club. 2 Heisman hopefuls in that game. The 2 quarterbacks, Erickson and Detmer. On the ground on 1st down, and it's Rodney Blunt again. They felt he was a question mark coming into this game. He's had a nice football game.
He really has. I said early in the telecast that the tailbacks in an I formation, especially Clemson's, they've made the I very famous for the tailbacks running downhill all the time and always gaining ground, never being in a position to lose any territory. And he has done a very, very good job at this tailback position.
He picked up 8 on 1st down. 4:45 left in the 3rd quarter. Blunt close to a 1st down as he reached the 25. Timeout called. They will measure.
Watch the linebackers here. They've had some trouble with the misdirection plays, but when a toss sweep and it comes right at you, they were able to get over and help on the play. James Pearson, good support by the secondary there. Tony Covington came up. He's kind of the leader in the secondary for the Virginia Cavaliers.
Particularly with the injury to Keith McMeans. Just short are the Tigers. They have 3rd and inches coming up.
Very effective in the 1st half in the wishbone offense in 3rd and short yardage. They made it on every occasion with the counter.
Four for 11 on 3rd down are the Tigers. Cameron plunged ahead and appeared to pick up the 1st down. He did. 1st down, Clemson. Number 79, the first man who got to him. Chris Slade, 85, also in on the play. For another update on the Texas Tech-Ohio State game, here's Chris Fowler.
Fellas, with the Buckeye offense struggling, they turn to the special teams. 10-10 tie in the fourth quarter. Jeff Graham comes up, takes the low punt. Not time for the Red Raider coverage team to get down there. 50-yard touchdown. Ohio State goes up 17-10 early in the fourth quarter. Back to Charlottesville.
Seems strange to see that grass field in Columbus. That pass is caught, but for little gain. Nice catch by Stacy Fields, the tight end, senior from Frogmore, South Carolina. First team academic All-ACC the last 2 seasons.
Frogmore, South Carolina. That's where Zeke Gadsden's from. The linebacker head of Pittsburgh is a great player. Here's a throw. It was covered very well. Stacy Fields just does a nice job concentrating on the ball and then making yardage. Another fine tackle by Tony Covington, the free safety.
Lately, Clemson has been in far too many of these 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11 situations. 3rd and 10 here. Cameron. Flag down. Thrown where you would expect holding. Cameron came up well short of the first down, about 8 yards short. They will likely decline the penalty with 4th down upcoming. P.J. Killian tells Dale Phillips that Virginia will decline the penalty.
We have a hold on the offense. The penalty is declined. It will be 4th down.
Virginia came on a blitz right here. Did a good job trying to get to the quarterback. You see the hold right here where as Cameron tried to step up inside. Again, what now Virginia's trying to do is blitz them in passing situations.
Gardocki. A shorter kick this time. Jason Wallace from the 31. And another fine return. Virginia fans and sideline want a flag for a late hit, and now they're all milling about near the Virginia bench. And here come the Clemson players across the field. The officials waving the Clemson players to go back, but they aren't stopping, as you can see.
It's unfortunate when something like that happens, but sometimes you got to remember the effort that's put into football in this week's ball game. These kids have worked hours and hours and hours to prepare for this game, and sometimes that'll happen. It's not right. You don't want it to happen, but sometimes it does happen. Here he's out of bounds, and that, you know, there's the late hit right there into the bench.
There easily could have been a flag there.
By Howard Hall. Wasn't so much the tackle because he still was close to being out of bounds. There's a late hit on the person in the bench. Back to bench is up. I don't know what they're talking about. There is either a flag or they're in the flag.
These conferences are always interesting when an official who is 60 or 70 yards away is consulted for his opinion.
I didn't see a flag. They're going to call one.
Crowd doesn't like the offsetting nature of the penalties. Clemson a bit fortunate there. They had 2 chances for the officials really to throw a flag for a late hit.
Well, there's possibly something else happened down there also that we didn't see. As you see right here,
there's one
a late hit,
and there's two.
Now we don't see. There's a Clemson Virginia player striking back, so you never know. You're not down there. You don't see it. And
well, it started 2-0 at the very least. So Virginia had to do some catching up in that skirmish. Plus, the Clemson players left the bench and came all the way across the field. There were only 5 players still over on their sideline.
It's tough down there, let me tell you.
Yes, it is. I bet that's one of those times, Coach, where they start banging around like that. You're glad you're up here.
Well, I was in a few of those, and down there on the sideline, the one thing that's tough for a coach is you're right up against it. You can't get out of the way or anything. I mean, you're right there. You're trapped from behind.
The officials still talking.
This Clemson program's been a proud program, John. Frank Howard, a great coach, a legendary coach at Clemson. Just to Clemson as Paul Bear Bryant is to Alabama. Started this tradition at Clemson, the winning tradition, and he's a fine person. He helps the blue-gray game, and he's from Mobile, Alabama. He's the pride of Mobile. There's Frank right there. Just a great football coach, great person. I know he's probably watching this game, and send our regards to you, Frank.
81 years old, still comes by to address the troops.
He's the best. I'm going to tell you something. These are traditions of programs that you want to hold on to.
Virginia with the ball with a 20-7 lead with 2:23 left in the third quarter. First and 10 from the 43. Kirby thrown for a 2-yard loss. Kenzel Jackson, number 13, a backup linebacker, was in on the stop.
Fight sometimes can get the emotions going again and wake up a club, but I really believe that Clemson's defense right now has to get it done. They have to make something happen. They have to become the aggressor and try to get some scores. Bobby Trout has to try to get them to get their offense going.
Second and 11. Sean Moore has missed on his last 4 pass attempts. McGonigal, the motion man. They keep it on the ground with Kirby. He slips down at the 39. A loss of 3 more.
They'll bring in a nickel back right now to try to load up in the secondary and play heavy coverage on Sean Moore.
Good field position, coach, and for the first time all day, Virginia's gone a little bit conservative 2 plays in a row.
Well, you're trying to get the clock to move, and you never know. You may strike upon something. You know, football's a game that one play may go bad and set something up a little later. This is a key third down situation. Clemson has to try to cause a turnover right here with their nickel package.
Ticking down toward the final minute of the third quarter. Heavy pressure. Moore has some work to do. He did it. First down and much more. $25-yard gain for Sean Moore to the Clemson 36.
One thing, if you're Clemson defensively, you did just what you wanted to do. You pressured Sean Moore, you covered well, and then all of a sudden he breaks away from a tackle, and now he's dangerous because you got all your defenders down the football field. And he picks up the first down.
$59 yards rushing now for Sean Moore. The fullback, Steele, crossed the 35 and picks up 3. Here's Chris.
Okay, fellas, a couple of top 25 score updates. Number 24, Houston, has exploded in the second quarter, as you might expect. David Klingler, 4 touchdown passes. The replacement for Rondé Ware has scored from 46, 14, 9, and 47 yards. Washington beat San Jose State by just a field goal. Beat them by a field goal 2 years ago. So the 100th season of Husky football is off to a good start, but the Spartans are doing a good job. Let's go back now to Charlottesville.
This could be the final play of the third quarter. First down, lost the football out of bounds. First down, Virginia at the 21 of Clemson. Ball spotted at the 22. This will be the final play of the quarter. Steele in motion. Fisher the carry. Flag down. Thrown in the backfield. Ball loose. Clemson says they have it. And the Tigers do. Dexter Davis came out of the pile with the football. Fisher fumbled at the 10-yard line. There is a flag on the play, thrown in the offensive backfield.
thrown where you would expect holding against Virginia. It is declined. And as we go to the fourth quarter, Clemson will have the football back 1st and 10 at its own 10-yard line.
You talk about a big play. Now there you came up pointless. Clemson's defense did what they had to do.
Perhaps a chance for George Welsh.
Virginia was trying to position himself to knock him out. They had him against the ropes, Clemson. Nicky Fisher on the run right here, and Clemson's defense rose to the occasion. The tackle by Jerome Henderson jarred the ball loose. Robert Oliver and he did their job. A turnover and held him without any points down there, Sean.
Dexter Davis came up with the football. A long way to go for the Tigers. They begin at their own 10-yard line on the first play of the fourth quarter. Cameron throws. Nice catch. Doug Thomas, the reception at the 20.
We talk about some lost officials on that one now. I don't know if it's a catch or not, but they're a little bit undecided themselves. Again, a misdirection play where Cameron came out to throw the ball. They're going to give him the catch. I don't know.
Crowd didn't think so across the field. Looked like a good catch.
I can see why he had a tough time. I can't see it from here with a replay.
Just short of a first down. Second less than a yard.
Must get the option going again.
Hand off to the fullback for the first down. Howard Hall, a parade All-American in high school, backup last year, just a sophomore.
Bowl people usually have a tough time trying to find an opponent for Clemson in December and January when they pick them for a bowl, because a lot of people realize that they've done such a great job recruiting and coaching down there, and that'll continue with Ken Hatfield.
1 minute played in the fourth quarter. Cameron into a crowd and caught. Some nice catches made on this series for Clemson. First the grab by Thomas, and that one by Stacy Fields.
Virginia's changing up a little bit. They dropped off Chris Slade here, the outside backer, where he rushed and made the big play just before half. They drop him off here to help P.J. Killian. Ooh, look at that tackle. That's a pancake right there. Watch Chris Slade break on the ball. Nice tackle.
And a great job of hanging on to the football by Stacy Fields. He was hit by Slade and Killian. Screen. Larry Ryan's his first involvement with the football this afternoon. He's the backup tailback, number 20, a sophomore from Greenwood, South Carolina.
Take my hat off to Virginia defensively and their coaches right now. They've not allowed the big play. And they've really kept this game where it should have been early in the first half by playing good defense.
Big play. Third and a long one. Out of the wishbone. Blunt bowls forward for the first down.
It's been their short yardage bread and butter. Wishbone counter.
Frank Spaziani has to be proud of his defense. As you said earlier, so many injuries and a lot of inexperienced people playing, but they've held Clemson to 7 points, a team that scored 59 a week ago.
This is a bright young football coach here. He's really done a great job keeping this ball game in where the offense of Virginia needed it. When Virginia had all that bad field position in the first half offensively, his defense didn't crack.
Spaziani was a fine football player at Penn State. Cameron going deep, has a man. Terry Smith into Virginia territory at the 33-yard line. Greg Jeffries made the tackle.
Deshaun Cameron really has a pretty good arm. There again, misdirection, play fake. The pass has been successful for him. Run the post pattern just a little bit further of a lead, and that may have been a big score. Virginia came on the blitz. They brought Tyrone Lewis, the strong safety. He made the hit on Cameron late.
Cameron has hit 5 straight passes. Looking to throw again. Down the sideline, too high. Intended for Smith. Again, it was Jeffries who had the coverage. 2nd and 10 upcoming for Clemson at the Virginia 33. We're down to 11 minutes and 47 seconds left in the football game. Ken Hatfield and the Tigers are trailing 20-7. This the 8th play of the drive. Too high. Howard Hall, the intended receiver.
Same counteraction that's been successful for Clemson. He just overthrew his fullback, Howard Hall, in the flat. Cleared out with a wide receiver and brought Howard Hall against the inside backer. It's open just a little bit too high.
Coach, what's the philosophy here? Is this trailing by 13? A field goal really doesn't do you a whole heck of a lot of good. Is this a 4-down situation here?
I don't think so right now with Gardocki being the kind of threat he is, but I think this is probably, for Kenny Hatfield and his staff, this might be the most important call they have had this season right here on 3rd down.
And they're going to use a timeout to talk about that call. Okay. ESPN's presentation of college football, Clemson versus Virginia, is brought to you by Dodge. On the road or off, for exciting cars and tough trucks, it's Advantage Dodge. And by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Sean McDonough and Mike Gottfried at Scott Stadium in Charlottesville, Virginia. The homestanding Cavaliers have never beat Clemson, as those cards say.
I'll look for a sprint out this way.
3rd down and 10 for Clemson at the 33 of Virginia. Quarterback draw. Gets 2, and that's all. 4th and 8 upcoming. Tough to tell if that was a design quarterback draw, if he was forced out.
No, I think it was a design quarterback draw. I think right now they're going to talk about whether they need to go for this 4th down play, rather than kick the field goal, going for it. And I think they are going to go for it. Kenny Hatfield's probably thinking the field goal still keeps me 2 scores away. I need something big to happen right here. If I don't get the 1st down, then I'm just turning it back over to my defense again.
Let's check in the studio with Chris Fowler.
Okay, fellas, it's a final in the Rose Bowl. Oklahoma beating the Bruins handily, 34-14, as Steve Collins gets us up for Oklahoma and rushes for 2 touchdowns. The Sooners have won 21 out of the last 22 season openers. The Bruins have to wonder if their tough times are going to continue. Let's go back down to Virginia.
Well, looks like Clemson's going to go for it, because you would think they had time to make the decision about field goal versus going for it when they had the previous timeout. So you'd think they're going to go for it here. Let's first give you the storyline. 4 straight scores for Virginia, and Herman Moore, after a slow start in this football game, has been a big story.
Well, I think you're right, Sean, but on 3rd down, because they knew all along they probably were going to go in a 4th down situation, they just feel like at this point in the ball game that they need to get some points and they need a touchdown, that they set this play up with a quarterback draw. Now again, it's got to be some type of full sprint where Cameron can get on the corner and maybe throw an out route right by the stick, maybe a 10-yard out route to the field. I think I'd roll him to the right since he's a right-hander. He feels a little bit more comfortable going that way and try to hit somebody on an out.
4th down, nearly 9 yards to go for a Clemson 1st down. And Cameron is going to use Clemson's last timeout. We'll return to Charlottesville in just a moment. Biggest play of the football game, perhaps of the entire season for Ken Hatfield.
Oh, really is. Again, I think he's had some kind of sprint out to the right side here.
4th and 9. Virginia leads by 13 with 11 and a half minutes to play. Blitz. Incomplete. Terry Smith was open with 1st down yardage, and Cameron missed it.
It was a good call by Kenny Hatfield to sprint out to the right and a throwback where he had the curl route. It was open. He just overthrew it a little bit. Again, the transition year, first time on the road, it's tough. Here you see him sprint out, throwing back.
He was open. Virginia takes over at its own 32. 11:22 to play. Cavaliers 20, Tigers 7. Kirby tried to spin away from the traffic, just ran into some more traffic. Vance Hammond at the bottom of the pile.
Now, as a offensive team, you got a lot of confidence in your defense right now because they've stopped them on the Virginia side.
Tom O'Brien, the offensive line coach, the gentleman squatting next to George Welch. Loss of a yard on the play. 2nd and 11. Clemson is out of timeouts. Tomlin, the motion man. Kirby again. Seems to be the last 2 series, Coach. Virginia has gone very conservative. I know they have the lead, but still plenty of time left for Deshaun Cameron.
There is a lot of time left, and but again, your defense is playing so well. The last drive, it was 11-play drive, and you're going to force the other team's offense to make some mistakes in an 11-play drive. Now, you like to pick the first down up here and throw on the football or some type of draw. But again, they're playing so well on defense, they want the clock to move.
And Sean Moore lets the play clock tick down to 4 seconds as the ball is snapped. Flag flies as Moore slips down back at the 26-yard line.
It's on Virginia, an offensive lineman.
For illegal use of the hands.
You see Sean Moore being forced out. Good pressure, and there's a
penalty right there. 74, Jim Reed.
4th down.
Not a good series for Virginia right there, but again, the clock's moving and a lot of confidence in your defense right now. What Clemson needs to do is either go after this punt. They need to put some pressure on and try to block this punt.
Ed Garneau. 10 men on the line, now 2 drop back. High snap. And a good kick. Dexter Davis from the 27. A flag down at the 42. Davis down at the same spot. 46-yard punt, 13-yard return. Coach, talking about the conservatism of Virginia the last 2 times they've had the football. When you've lost to a team 29 straight times, don't you have to drive the stake through their heart a little bit, go for the killer instinct, don't wait back for another nightmare to happen? Because we've seen on a couple of flashbacks today, there have been some late nightmares that have taken what looked like a victory away from Virginia against Clemson.
You know, I've been as a coach, I was confused. Everybody said I was conservative at different times, but you have a simple thing in mind that you're trying to get accomplished right now. I think George is trying to keep the clock moving, and his defense is playing so well, play the field position game right now. And I think that's why he's decided to do it. He doesn't want any turnovers, and he doesn't want Clemson to get back in this thing. And if they're going to get back in it, take about 7 minutes to get back.
9:33 to play. Up the middle, Howard Hall. Bruising run, close to a first down. George Welsh 0-8 against Clemson. No Virginia coach has ever defeated the Tigers. He is the winningest coach at both Navy and Virginia. Here's a trick play as we look at the graphic. They lined up with just the center over the ball. They snapped it back to the quarterback. The rest of the Clemson players were off to the left side of the football. They gave it quickly to Thomas, and he rambled into Virginia territory at the 46, and a flag was thrown where Thomas went down. 19 yards the pickup.
It's the old fake the shoe, tie the shoe trick where you're leaning over the ball. Watch here. It's like he's tying his shoe right here. He'll reach up, snap the ball over to all the players over here.
That was Deshaun Cameron who just picked it up and fired it out to Thomas.
And he caught Virginia in the defensive huddle.
Personal foul penalty, though, against Clemson.
On the offense, we're going to set the chains. It'll be 1st and 25.
That's the tough part of this penalty. It's 1st and 25. Saying earlier about no Virginia coach has ever beaten Clemson. 4 years in the 1800s, they had a coach named Unknown. I had a lot of alumni that tried to make me unknown over the course of coaching careers. He didn't beat him either, the unknown guy.
Less than 9 minutes to play, and the clock is running again. 8:52. 1st and 25 upcoming for Clemson.
Virginia needs to try to pick one off.
Over the middle, deflected and dropped. Terry Smith, the intended receiver. It's now a final in Columbus as Ohio State played host to Texas Tech. Here's Chris.
Okay, fellas, Ohio State gets a real scare. They trailed 10-3 in that ball game. Robert Smith had a touchdown run to tie it, and then Jeff Graham, a 50-yard punt return for the winning margin. The Buckeyes survived the scare. Florida clobbering Oklahoma State in the debut for Steve Spurrier, 50-7, and Shane Matthews, the redshirt freshman quarterback, a huge day, 20 for 29, 332 yards and a touchdown. After the game, news of some top 25 teams that did not survive the upset. Let's go back down to Sean and Mike.
Thank you, Chris. 8:35 to play here. Cameron going for Thomas, too far. He was a step or two behind Tony Covington, but the pass was overthrown. That's 5 straight incompletions thrown by Deshaun Cameron.
Clemson's a running team. If you looked at their play chart from last year, I believe it was 78% of the time they were running the football. They're not a passing football team, but yet they have the weapons. Their game is the option and the eye tailback in a power running game and a play action passing game.
3rd and 25. The Tigers at their own 39. Cameron falls down. Loss of 4, back to the 35.
Now the clock does become a factor.
It is running with 8:15 showing on the clock. "29 years. Gardaki's had a great day punting, as usual. Wallace has had a great day running them back, including a 79-yarder. Gardaki did his thing again, and Wallace called for a fair catch, then took a little bit of a shove from Scott Bevel, number 61. There's a flag not thrown there, but up the field at the 35-yard line. Apparently Wallace might have said something that upset Scott Bevel.
Well, if you're a Clemson football player now, you don't want to be known as a team that lost the first game either. So there's a lot of frustration on both sides of the field right now.
And a little bit of frustration with George Welsh with the officials. I think George wants to know how come a flag wasn't thrown when his player got pushed after a fair catch.
Did you used to be an official?
No, but I'm thinking about becoming one.
I didn't realize I was going to become a defender, a public defender for officials, but they have a tough job.
That personal foul was against Virginia. Looked like somebody has been ejected as well, with the indication that Dale Phillips gave. I think they've done a fine job today. And I just thought that's what George was complaining about. I didn't say George was right.
No, I'm not. Please.
We have a dead ball. Personal foul on the offense.
Could the officiating be something that breaks us up as a crew?
Obviously, Jason Wallace says something. Bevel a harmless shove.
Ah, yeah. That's a no call.
Yes.
But George wanted one.
I don't know any coach that doesn't. We're always begging.
So here's another first and long yardage situation. First and 21 with the walk-off. Again, Virginia stays on the ground, just trying to kill time now.
Well, they're playing. Clemson went to an 8-man front there against the 2 tight end set. Virginia's trying to balance them up a little bit. These fans will take a, from Virginia, they'll take a win. Really don't care how it happens, right?
That's right.
Although some of them are getting a little antsy. And
well, I think back up here, this is the right thing to do. You're on your own 10-yard line now. Clemson doesn't have any timeouts. Moore wisely stays in bounds, picks up a couple out to the 13. Inside of 7 minutes to play. Virginia leads 20-7. 2 years ago here in Charlottesville, they had a 7-3 lead over Clemson with less than 5 minutes to play and lost on a late touchdown. Clemson cannot stop the clock again.
And that's a factor for running the football. You keep that clock moving, and your kicking game's been pretty good. Clemson needs to stop him here and go after the punt.
Ben Moore, a 50-year senior, showing his veteran leadership, waiting for the play clock to tick down.
This could be a one-receiver route here. Nope.
Terry Kirby the carry, and Virginia will have to punt it away. Rather, Nicky Fisher, pardon me, 33, had the ball for the Cavaliers.
I would expect him to come after right here. 5:54 left. Something, you have to have something to turn it quickly.
Ed Garneau.
High snap last time.
Good snap this time. Short kick. O'Neal had to let it bounce, and it took a good Virginia bounce to the 39-yard line of Clemson. Will the streak be over? We'll find out in 5:28.
0-29 against Clemson, but a great deal of emphasis would be placed on beating them in this particular ball game, and for me, I would just be about as excited as a human being could get.
Dave Sloan, a 4-time football letter winner at the University of Virginia. He might be 5 minutes and 28 seconds away from being as excited as he could possibly get. This is the best field position to start a drive for Clemson today. Their own 38. Tried to go to the screen. Larry Ryan's the intended receiver, and he couldn't hang on.
Just a little quick slip screen that to try to set up to try to get a big play out of. Deshane Cameron's 0 for 6.
Clemson has had to go to the passing game, and that is not Clemson football. The completion this time to midfield. Hurry-up offense for Clemson after the catch by Jason Davis.
Without their timeouts now, they have to be able to execute the 2-minute drill.
Virginia leads by 13 points, 20-7. To the sideline. Ryans did not get out of bounds. He tried to roll out, but the officials did not stop the clock for him.
A lot of action now where they're sprinting out, throwing back into a single receiver side.
Second and 4. A run up the middle, close to a first down at the 40. Howard Hall, the ball carrier. Clock stops for a moment as the officials look to the down marker to see if it was a first down. It was not. About a half yard short. Hall does have the first down. He crossed the 40 and went down to the 39.
One thing in a no-huddle situation, it doesn't give the defense time to change defenses, so you're playing pretty well the same defense in every play.
Cameron over the middle. Nice catch. 3 defenders in the area of Terry Smith, but he came away with the football for a gain of 9 to the 30.
Just don't break out the champagne too quick here. This is a good drive right here. The no-huddle is really helping him because it's not giving Virginia a chance to.
On the option, Ryans has the first down. And fortunately for Virginia, he was knocked out of bounds. Tony Covington and Greg Jeffries the tackle, but that stops the clock with 4:05 left.
The no-huddle, Sean, it gives you opportunity to be the aggressor. You're after him. And that's exactly what Clemson's doing right now.
The Tigers could huddle up as Ryans went out of bounds. Fans trying to spur on the defense. To the end zone. Touchdown, Clemson, and dropped. Into the hands and out of the hands of Larry Ryans, his second drop on this sequence.
Where they've been sprinting to one side and throwing back to the curl route, they did the same thing here, but you'll see the receiver, instead of stopping and curl, he runs a streak. You got a post pattern on the inside of him and a takeoff route. Just couldn't hold on. Larry Ryans.
5 drops for the Clemson team today. That one's through the hands of the intended target. Terry Smith was the intended receiver. It was too high for him. It's been one of those days for Clemson. That looked like a sure touchdown. Ryans was bringing it down and lost it on his hip.
See defensive players on Clemson's sideline trying to keep their offense going and trying to encourage them as much as they can.
Third and 10 from the 20. 3:54 to play. Virginia leads by 13 points. Over the middle again. Dropped again. Terry Smith at the goal line. Had it bounce off his hands.
Sean Cameron has to feel pretty good about the way he's throwing the ball. He's right on the mark. Using this half sprint, he'll sprint to the left right here with one back blocking, and you get a post pattern coming right in your screen right here. Terry Smith just didn't wrap it up.
You're right. The quarterback could not have thrown that ball any better.
He's thrown 2 perfectly thrown balls that could have been touchdowns or taken them down to the 1-yard line.
This could be it for Clemson. They need to pick up 4th and 10. Into a crowd, incomplete. Tony Covington batted it away with help from Eugene Rogers, number 52.
Talk about an important play here. Tony Covington, number 5, broke that pass play up. He broke on the route. Caused that incompletion.
No timeouts for the Tigers with 3:43 left. Fisher picked up 2.
It's a replay on that last pass play. Watch Tony Covington break on the ball. Breaks right through the receivers, uses his lead arm as a way of knocking the ball away. That's the break.
Eugene Rogers, number 52 as well, a backup linebacker helping out of the play. He might have been the man who got a piece of it.
Well, Clemson's expecting run. Everybody's expecting run right now. So Clemson's going to get about an 8-9-man defense, but that strategy has paid off for Virginia.
Fisher rips through the hole. Fisher along the far sideline, caught from behind.
Anthony Fisher on the sprint draw breaks a tackle and heads down the sideline on the sprint draw, which now allows Virginia to keep the ball and try to run the clock out. This is why this ball game's a tough game to have this early, because the emotional effect it will have on, first of all, Virginia. You win a big game like this, you've got to be able to come back and play the next week. Now you're in the driver's seat in this league, but there's some other good teams in this league. Kenny Hatfield now has to do a great coaching job, because he's going to take his team to Maryland next week.
We'll take our ESPN cameras to Provo, Utah, to the campus of BYU. The Cougars play host to #1 Miami. Coming up in less than 20 minutes, Ron Franklin and Gary Danielson will bring you all of the action of that one. 35-yard gain by Fisher. Spotted out of bounds at the 43 of Clemson, 2:55 to play. Virginia leads 20-7. Terry Kirby driven back after a gain of 1.
The first man on that practice field on Monday at Clemson will be Frank Howard to try to help pick him up. But Kenny Hatfield's an excellent coach, and he'll get him right back.
The streak is about to end. The longest current Division I-A winning streak of one team over another. Clemson's 29 wins without a loss against Virginia, and it will end in Ken Hatfield's first game as Clemson coach against Virginia, and his second game in all as the Clemson head man. Kirby will try to strip the ball. They've got him around the neck, and they slam him to the turf. His helmet came off.
That's what you're taught to do in this stage of the ball game. You got to try to strip it. You got to try to make something happen, turn it over. You go back to Kenny Hatfield. He's a very strong person. He's in a program where they've been successful and they've won, had 29 straight. But one game will not make a season. Wow. He got tackled pretty hard. People are starting to head for the goalpost. I think they're going to have to ante up some money to buy a couple new goalposts.
These students who have been sitting on the hill have inched toward the field. There's a big hedge at that end of the field. They're starting to throw some objects at the law enforcement officials, trying to keep them back.
And the 7 of them are outnumbered.
Yes. That's going to be a mismatch if they start coming over the hedge. Third down and 10. Moore. Back to the line of scrimmage. That'll take the clock down to the 1-minute mark.
They're throwing things at those police officers. Little paper. And if I was the police officers, I think I would do the move and let them have it. It's a great thing about college football. The atmosphere on a college campus is outstanding. It's been a great football game. The crowd's been in the game. A lot of color in this ball game, and it's exciting times in college football.
Number one, baby.
They're talking about #1 down the sidelines. That is not all that far-fetched a possibility. Now, one win does not a national championship make. But this seemed to be the toughest opponent Virginia would face this year, Clemson.
Well, the schedule's in their favor. Either team would have won this ball game, would have positioned themselves in that kind of situation.
Garneau gets it off. That's all he wanted to do. Davis started at the 8. He's finished at the 11. Flags down on the play. They're getting ever so close to the goalposts. This is the schedule we were talking about, the remaining schedule for Virginia. They have Navy here next week at Duke. Certainly that'll be a tough game. William & Mary, NC State, considered to be one of the top teams in the ACC. That's a home game. At Wake Forest, Georgia Tech, another tough team, but that's a home game.
Schedule's in,
yes, it is.
Schedule's in their favor, but you never know about football because you're never the same team every week. An injury here, an injury there, but obviously things are moving in the right direction for Virginia. George Welsh is to be commended.
Penalty is against Clemson.
There's no greater feeling to win a football game as a coach. It's a great feeling for your kids, your fans, people in your community. On the other side of the field, I can't explain it. There's nothing worse.
Well, they're going to have a problem now down here. Pardon me for interrupting you, Mike, but fans are on the field now. You hate to see this happen. There's still 48 seconds to play. This is one of the nation's leading institutions. But this is not like what you would like to see at a place like the University of Virginia. The fans who are remaining in the stands are booing their fellow fans. What they're doing at the moment is detracting attention from the football players who deserve to be in the spotlight at the moment.
You really feel bad about this. Virginia doesn't like it. Fans don't. Most of these fans don't like it.
George Welsh is upset. The fans chanting, "Get off the field." The goalpost is coming down.
That's dangerous.
It certainly is.
Dangerous situation.
The goalposts have come down. The fans are moving back. Saw the shot of George Welsh, how upset he was. I really feel for him in this moment. For his entire 9 years at Virginia, one of the things he's worked hardest for is to beat Clemson. He's about to do it, and his moment in the spotlight is being partially
ought to send his defense. Ought to send his defense down there.
Yeah, if he sent the defense down there, they'd be back over that hedge in a hurry.
Yeah, here's some two people that, well, here, they saved the goalpost.
As Mike said, they managed to save the goalpost. And perhaps now the fans have had their fun and they'll let the football game end. 48 seconds left. Clemson trails by 13. They're out of timeouts. They're backed up to their own 5-yard line.
As I said earlier, you know, a guy like Dick Bestwick has to feel good. He was the coach before George Welsh, and all the coaches in the past. Yeah, they ought to boo this guy. Get him off the field.
Fan running on the field at midfield as you watch Cameron in trouble. He'll run out of bounds at the 13. Oh, and the fan who ran on the field is going to regret that he did.
I think there's a possibility he's a student here with a high SAT score.
It's possible. But based on that performance, unlikely, I think. I think with as angry as some of these security people are starting to be, anybody with a high SAT score would stay off the field. Jason Davis the catch. will stop the clock briefly as they move to change. 12-yard gain.
Frustrating day for Kenny, but as I said before, he's a strong person. He'll get him back next week.
That's incomplete. 23 seconds left.
George has done a good job in programs that haven't won. He took a Navy program and built it, and he took this program here and has built it, and he has to feel very good about himself.
He and Bear Bryant are the only two coaches who are the winningest coach at two different Division I-A programs. Incomplete. Larry Ryan's had it go through his hands. Clemson will be talking a lot tonight about drop balls.
They've had some drop passes, but a lot has to do with the hits they've taken also. They've taken some. This secondary, Virginia, played with some people hurt, but also came up and made some good, strong tackles and stripped the ball. A lot of the credit should go to them. Got a long ways to even this series up.
Yes, they do. Cameron on third down, incomplete. Batted away by Eugene Rogers, who was a part of the big play ending the last Clemson drive.
Resting the wrong guy down there. They ought to be down the end zone.
Pass ruled incomplete, and Virginia has ended the streak. Virginia. The final score, the Cavaliers 20 and the Tigers 7. We'll be back.